going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake. How do we start off this show? As you know them, you love them, you got to have them. After getting sent home on a bad day, this is how you vent. This is how you do it. You ready? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. And then after that, I don't have any guests. We'll take your phone calls, as always, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 as we are live on Facebook tonight. The numbers just keep on climbing. We continue to talk about it. I just want to brag a little bit, right? 373,000. Let me turn it on my phone there. You got to love that. 373,000 new viewers on Facebook. I mean, it just keeps on growing and growing every day. You love the content. Everybody says this is the off season. Not for the Sports Web. Not for the Sports Web. We get you ready for free agency when it comes to your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We get you ready for possible contract extension talks with Chris Godwin, because that was the big story last night. According to Greg Auman, the Bucs and Chris Godwin are extending their talks until March 12th. That is huge because, of course, March 12th is the start of the new league year when it comes to free agency. And, of course, at this point, Godwin is the biggest free agent on the Bucs docket right now. No doubt. And I think there's a lot of Bucs fans out there that are concerned. But I would say this, if Godwin and the Bucs are having these type of conversations to where you extend until March 12th, is there a better opportunity for an extension in your opinion? And that's the question for the night. It kind of goes back to Monday night. What's your confidence level between 1 and 10 to get a Chris Godwin extension done? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Oh, by the way, the salary cap has gone up once again for the National Football League. In fact, the last 2 years, $53 million. $53 million. So the cap has gone up and the projected numbers are out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And according to Sports Illustrated, the Bucs will have $8.4 million to play with now. Oh my God. Doom and gloom. The Bucs don't have the money. Look, I'm not a math guy, okay? Just not. I've been on this show and told you before that I failed math in college. And I'm pretty proud of that, especially when it comes to algebra. I can count my money. I can count my viewers. I can count my likes. But, I'm not a capologist. I let those guys handle it because they know what they're doing when it comes to Jason Light and this Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization. And if they want to keep you around, they will figure out a way to keep you around. And my confidence level right now is a 9.5 and a 9.8. Now, again, Tampa Bay sports fan, Tampa Bay homer, whatever the hell you want to call me. You can call me. Just call me. Don't go all crickets on me. But 9.5, 9.8. And I'm feeling good about that at this point. I do. And by the way, we're live on TikTok. Appreciate you guys out there tuning into that. We'll see how long that goes. But that was the big story last night. So do you feel good about it? I know there's some Bucs fans already counting their chips and saying, move on from Chris Godwin. We need defense. And I say, no. Let's keep Godwin in-house on this offense. Let's make it better. You have Jalen. Can you imagine Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan, and Chris Godwin? The kind of season that Godwin was having last year, 50 catches, leading the National Football League at the time, dislocated ankle. People go, oh, well, the last couple of years, those are freak accidents. He's not an injury-prone player. He's a strong player. And then, by the way, with that salary increase, because you know that the Bucs are going to do some restructures when it comes to freeing up cap because they can play with those numbers when it comes down to it. Mike Greenberg, Jason Light, and crew. That means you can probably not only sign a Chris Godwin, but pursue a free agent or pursue a trade now. That's why I say, like, everybody, like the Saints are a great example. Yeah, always talk about the Saints the last 5 years. And by the way, they're going to be in the hole. $47.5 million. Yeah. But as I said, it's like the national debt. Like, it's an imaginary number. Like, the national debt is in the hole all the time. Trillions and trillions of dollars, and yet we still get up the next day. Now, the economy at this point is kind of in the toilet, but we're still able to function. You're still able to have money. The same thing goes with the National Football League. If they want to find that money, they will find that money to spend it on the players they want to keep. And going back to it, Jason Light has been great about keeping his players in-house. Whether it's Tristan Wirfs, whether it's Antoine Winfield Jr., whether it's Baker Mayfield, whether it's Mike Evans, whether it's Levante David, if they feel like you deserve to be a part of this organization, then you are. So what's your confidence level with Chris Godwin? 1 to 10. I already see some. Put it in the box there on TikTok, on YouTube, and of course on Facebook. And we'll talk about some of the other rumors around the league. Joey Bosa possibly cut. Bucs fans, any interest at this point? 30 years old. And then, as always, we'll not only take your phone calls and talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers around the NFL, but also we will talk turnbuckle talk, WWE, AEW action. No Ralph Williams tonight. It's just me and you. Once again, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So without further ado, let's go ahead. I'm not going to play his music, but I'll play his intro. Here we go.
Book him, Dano.
There we go. The legend, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. Welcome once again, my friend, on a happy, and I didn't get a chance to play this sound effect. Here it is. Hump Day of the Sports Web. What's going on, boss?
Another day, another 40 cents, Peter. You know how that works.
Yes, another day, another dollar. In this case, you know, me getting sent home early, I got an opportunity to kind of collect my thoughts at this point and kind of, you know, get ready for this show, gather my thoughts, get ready for free agency because it's right around the corner. And the big news last night, and I know you saw this, we text back and forth off air. Chris Godwin and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have agreed to extend until March 12th. How big is this for both parties to get this deal done? Welcome to the Evolution.
Oh, it's really big because now they get to play out the T. Higgins saga. And sadly, that's what's going to determine where Chris Godwin goes. Because if T. Higgins gets franchised, Chris Godwin is the number one wide receiver on the board for free agency. If T. Higgins could walk, now he's 2. And I think both parties, the Bucs and Chris Godwin and his agent, wanted to wait this out and see what happens. Because somebody's going to overpay for somebody. It's just a matter of whom. And that's the problem. Again, Tampa Bay has a leg up because $20 million in Philadelphia can be matched with $15 million in Tampa because of no state income tax.
That's it.
The problem is agents don't want to hear that,
right?
Because they get 4% of the contract. So they want the big number. They don't care about how you got to pay your taxes and that. But players do realize that now, that they can take less money and make more money in the state of Florida, Texas, Arizona.
Well, it's true. It's absolutely true about that. And it's a major advantage of why, you know, a lot of people say it's good to stay in Florida, not only because of the weather, not only because of the organization standing with signing their own, but also the tax structure. I mean, it definitely is an advantage. It's worked before, not only for the Bucs, but for the Lightning. So it's huge. But what you say, because I see this across social media, and you know me, I'm a guy that, you know, likes to look and likes to poke and prod, if you will, and again, just gather information. I see a lot of Bucs fans say, you know what? he's going to price himself out. So let him go with the Jalen McMillan. What would you say to those fans? Because when Chris Godwin, and I get it, the last couple years here, he's been injured, but not of his fault, of course. No injury is. You can't control injuries. Injuries are a part of the game. But a cheap hit by the Saints, who, by the way, are the last team when it comes to cap. I think $47.5 million over the cap. But, of course, they'll get under it because that's what they do. That's what the NFL does when you want to find money. But a cheap hit by the Saints defender, and then, of course, a dislocated ankle. With those two injuries, first and foremost, what would you say to fans wanting to let Chris Godwin go because he's too much at this point?
Big mistake. Don't throw away a guy because of what he's going to cost, because he costs because he's good.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You get what you pay for. Now, if you think that Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and McMillan make a heck of a triumvirate, then you pay him. If you think that those two are the only ones and you'll find, a number 3 receiver, good luck. Because right now, the Bucs have more needs than wide receiver.
Right.
This is what the problem is, Peter. You and I know this.
Correct.
They need an edge rusher. They may need to figure out what to do with Levante David. They may need a linebacker. You always need a defensive back. Always. They just go down like flies. So that's the thing. So they need help on defense. I don't know if they can afford Chris Godwin if T. Higgins gets the franchise tag. We're hoping Cincinnati lets him walk, because then there's a very good chance. If T. Higgins gets franchised, Peter, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 4. If he doesn't get franchised on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm an 8.5.
Yeah, and I still say, even if he does get franchised, that the Bucs will work out a deal, because they've been able to restructure these contracts before. They'll do it with Baker Mayfield. They'll do it with Mike Evans. They'll do it with Tristan Wirfs. You mentioned edge rusher. We've talked about it on this show. I made no bones about it, legend. I've said Myles Garrett, you do it all day, every day, and 2 times on Sunday if you can. And if you have to give up 2 first-round picks, that's what you do. And now a lot of people are kind of catching on to this. Bill Barnwell of ESPN has acknowledged it. He said, and I don't necessarily agree with him. I don't know what Barnwell was watching last year, because you got Yaya Diaby. I get it, 4.5 sacks, but he's an unproven commodity at this point. You have JTS, who is a free agent. You've got Anthony Nelson, who most likely will be re-signed, but he's just a rotational player. And the guys that led your team are inside with Kalijah Kancey, but of course, Vita Vea, excuse me. He says edge rusher isn't a real point of weakness. Todd Bowles' defense also generates so much of its pressure with blitzes, so Garrett might mean more for a team that rushes 4 and relies on the defensive line to get home. The Bucs are a competitive team that could justify seeing Garrett as a guy who can take them to the next level. However, playing in an income tax-free state could make Garrett millions of dollars over the next contract. The Bucs pass rush is close. Missing on Joe Tryon-Shoyinka has hurt their development, but players continue to grow. Yaya Diaby is ready for a breakout in 2025 with getting healthy. Vita Vea still generates pressure up the middle. Kalijah Kancey may have taken the next step needed as well. But once again, you're depending on guys. I like Kancey. I like Vea. I think they're going to take that next step. I love Diaby. He's got to stay healthy. But then after that, what do you got? Myles Garrett, I don't care if you're running a 3-4, 4-3, 5-2, 4-6. You make this guy fit in your defense. What do you think of Barnwell's comments?
Peter, I'm not a big Sports Illustrated fan, because they're the teams that picked the Bucs to win 3 games 2 years ago.
Well, this is ESPN now, by the way, but yes, they've all.
Okay, thank God, because if it was Sports Illustrated, I'd have cut you off about 20 minutes ago.
I know, and Jason Light would have kept the receipts on that, my friend, because I love when Jason Light comes out during the combine and he sees the writer that actually predicted the Bucs to have 2 to 3 wins and says, "Oh, you're the guy. You're the guy that works at Sports Illustrated. You predicted us to have 2 to 3 wins. Guess what? In your face, we won the NFC South once again." Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's Peter. It's a great fit. I don't know if he can sign everybody. That's the key. Somebody's going to have to walk.
Mm-hmm.
And as sad as it may seem, it's probably going to be Levante David.
Okay.
I mean, they may be able to get Godwin and a Garrett under the cap, but they are going to be stretched to the limit then. But you know what? It's worth it because I can remember when they signed John Gruden, they lost a bunch of number ones and number twos, but they put that Lombardi trophy up on the shelf. So
right. Yeah. I mean, again, Vita Vea is not getting any younger at this point. Baker Mayfield is up there. Of course, Mike Evans, the ageless wonder, but he's also getting up there, nearly 35 years old. And I kind of agree with what Gerald McCoy put out there during Radio Row just a couple weeks ago, that if you get an edge rusher, say it's not a Myles Garrett, say it's a Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson or even a Micah Parsons or, possibly a Joey Bosa. We'll get back to that in a moment. But if you get somebody like that, then I think you convince Levante David, you know what? This team, like always, is serious about winning a championship. That championship window is open. Let's go again. Let's go. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying for one more year. And face it, what you saw from David, again, you're not necessarily the same linebacker, but still playing at a high level, still able to make consistent tackles, still able to have coverage there, still able to go sideline to sideline. I mean, to me, that works. What do you say?
He's the best they got.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you sign him.
Yeah.
But again, Peter, they're going to sit down, Jason Light, and the bean counters, for lack of a better word. And they're going to figure out, okay, here's what we got. Here's what we need to do to get A and B, A, B, and C.
Right.
And what bothers me the most is when a player says, I don't want to renegotiate it, and the media comes out, well, he's a bad teammate. Whoa, hold on, back off that completely.
Right.
Because that was the contract they signed. All he's asking them to do is live up to the contract.
Correct.
Now, I'd say 60 to 70%, maybe a little higher, of the players would renegotiate because they're playing for a ring. They don't want to be embarrassed by having a poor contract.
Sure.
But the biggest problem with Garrett is, where would he go? And I want to see Philly sign those two defensive ends that they got up there. I want to see him sign Sweat, because if Sweat walks and Williams walks, now you got room for Garrett, and that's an improvement.
Well, and you also got Hassan Reddick, who a lot of Bucs fans would talk about, but his value is not as high, so maybe you get him on the cheap, although buyer beware, because he had a contract squabble, he held out, came back.
Yeah, but Peter, look who the contract squabble was with.
Well, the Jets just end the season. I get it. It's malfunction junction there when it comes to the New York Jets. You're absolutely right. We're on with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And, of course, for you Tampa Bay sports fans, it's your time here on The Evolution. Now, this wasn't the only guy that made some comments. According to Joe Bucs fan, in care of Joe Bucs fan, Tristan Wirfs had some things to say about Myles Garrett. By the way, our friends there at Loose Cannons, they had Mike Evans on. He even said that, Myles Garrett would look good in red. But this is what Tristan Wirfs had to say. He said, it's not crazy at all with the chatter surrounding the Bucs dealing for Garrett. Myles Garrett, Tampa's a great place. You love Tampa. He also says, it's crazy. The longer you're here and you understand more of the business side and how things work, we want to keep our guys. That's always priority number one. But yeah, adding Garrett to the Bucs would be pretty insane. Oh, by the way, Leo, that's a team leader on this team. Oh, also, he was the guy that's friends with Baker Mayfield. You start to connect the dots here. Garrett, Baker, I want to see this storyline play out as if it were, a soap opera on steroids, where these two finally get together and you can make this work and lead, Garrett and Baker to a championship. Tristan Wirfs, his comments, your thoughts.
Peter, I put nothing past Jason Light and that crew down there. They make things happen. The biggest problem they got is who are they bidding against?
Right.
If I'm Jason Garrett,
Myles Garrett.
I'm sorry, I'm anybody's Garrett tonight. But
very good.
if I'm Myles Garrett,
yeah.
Where's he from, Peter?
Besides his mom, Texas.
Try again.
I thought, it was Texas A&M, was it not?
Who's the team that needs the help the most?
Well, there's been a couple of teams that have been mentioned. We can go through this real quick.
The Cowboys.
Well,
what scares me is if Jerry Jones finally says, look, let me find somebody else to run this show who knows football. As long as Jerry Jones is running the show, you're in good shape.
Listen, I get that. You can connect the dots on the hometown deal, but the Dallas Cowboys are a complete train wreck at this point. In fact, they hired Brian Schottenheimer, who had no business getting, an offensive coordinator job, let alone a head coaching job. Nobody was going to hire that guy. Their salary cap is all over the place at this point. You still have Jerry Jones running that team. And look, Garrett wants to leave Cleveland for a purpose. He wants to win a Super Bowl. The Bucs have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion. I think a lot around the league would say they're only a couple players away. Of course, the Philadelphia Eagles would definitely be in that conversation, as Garrett has been asked, a couple of times. It would be cool to go to the Philadelphia Eagles. You talk about the free agency situation. Maybe that opens up. Maybe they allow Sweat to test free agency and they go for Garrett. You have the Washington Commanders, who will definitely be in that conversation. You have the Detroit Lions, who would be in that conversation. You have the Buffalo Bills. But when it comes down to it, with giving up picks, with places you want to play, with players I think Tampa's the perfect place. Again, maybe that's because I'm biased, but I'm just saying, all those.
Your problem is you're missing number one.
What's up?
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
The Bucs have the money because, and we'll get back to that in a moment.
They definitely have the money.
Right.
The problem is convincing your significant other that you're going to take less money, but still make more money because of the tax situation.
Correct.
That's a hard sell at home.
Right.
I'm telling you. If someone offers me $20 million, and someone offers me $12 million, that's a hard sell.
I'm not ready to say the Bucs are going to offer $12 million. I think they can be creative with making cap and stuff like that. Yes, they're going to have to pay him big time money, but you can.
Peter, I'm going to throw this one out at you. You answer the question.
Okay.
Garrett or Godwin? Who do you go after first?
For who you go after first?
Yeah.
You got to take care of
who's A and who's B.
You got to take care of your own player and Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin, and I'll go main screen here. You got to go Godwin because first, he's your guy. He's in that building. You can't disrespect him. He's a big part of that offense. I still feel like, whether Jalen McMillan stepped up last year or not, Godwin's going to be an integral part of that offense, the relationship with Mike Evans. It's what Jason Light would do. 1B, of course, is Myles Garrett, in my opinion. You definitely have to kick those tires. So I would definitely say Godwin first, and they're in those talks with doing that and getting that done and have to get it done by March 12th. And we'll see how that works out because, as you know, once that new league year starts, and if you don't have that contract extension done, then you have the legal tampering period, aka, let's go sign a deal here, which usually happens during the combine in the first place. Those teams start to talk to the general managers and the agents and make things happen. Let me ask you this. Are you surprised that the cap is increased and is increased the way it has substantially? Leo Worth, the last couple years, in the total of $53 million. And do you think it's just nonsense to sit here and say, well, this team is over the cap, so they can't do anything? And once again, we're sitting here with the Saints, $47.2 million. Congratulations to the Saints. But somehow, some way, they're going to get under that cap and be able to sign players. What do you think of this cap nonsense once again and increasing the cap the last 2 years to $53 million?
Peter, let me educate the people who are watching tonight what
Please.
actually the cap is.
Okay.
It's the TV money.
Okay.
It's the streaming money. That's what the cap is. The cap is going to go up every year.
Right.
It's going to go up exponentially when there's a new contract that's kicking in,
Sure.
or there's a new group showing up. Streamers. Like, all of a sudden, Netflix is a player.
Yes.
As soon as they came on, I said, that cap's going up.
Yes.
And look what's happening. So teams are sitting there and going, yeah, we're over the cap, but money's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Their payroll is covered
right
now. Think about this now. Every team in the National Football League, their payroll is covered for players. That's a pretty big hit from TV money. And that's what they're getting. So that's always going to go up. And again, you can hide things, you can move things around. And the biggest thing you got to do is convince your players that this is for the best.
Correct.
And once they can do that, that's one thing I think Jason Light has done to the nth degree, is he's convinced the players that have renegotiated that it's in their best interest.
Correct. And that's what it's about. That's what this organization is about. And that's why I feel like at the end of the day, it's, not only a great place to live, but it's a destination that a lot of players around the league can see. When you take care of your own players, it comes down to not only the contract signing, but also, knowing that Mike Evans needs that record to tie Jerry Rice. What do? They get him that record no matter what it takes, no matter what it costs. They're going to get him that record, and players pay attention to that stuff, right? You've talked to players before.
That may be the biggest selling point the Bucs ever had.
Right.
Was the fact that it cost the team what? $2-3 million in bonus?
$3 million, yes. $3 million bonus. Yep.
And they went out when they didn't have to. And went out. Todd Bowles didn't say, don't throw the ball.
Yeah.
Let's get him his money. Let's get him the record. And the fact that the Bucs did that is unbelievable when it comes to a guy coming in and Baker Mayfield or whoever goes, hey, they don't care about money.
Yeah.
They want to win.
That's
the biggest thing.
They definitely want to win. I tell you what, Leo, let's go out to these comments here really quick because I don't want to neglect the webheads. Let's go out to Sitton. Sitton says, go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs, baby.
Absolutely, go Bucs. There we go. Let's go out to KR here first. I'm back. Go Bucs. Go Bucs. Let's go out to Sitton again. What's up, Peter Blake? How you doing, Sitton? Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. KR says, evening, Peter and crew. Appreciate you as always, my friend. Master Peter, thank you very much for tuning in. Edward, let's go out to Roger Shue, the tribal troll.
Acknowledge me.
I'm always first. You cheated. Hey, Spider, let's have a great show. Absolutely. Let's have a great show, my friend. Appreciate you. 60 seconds left. Purge all of your nonsense while you can. Thank you, Ed. That's exactly what I did there. And like I said, I'm not waking up my roommates. My roommates were awake, and I told them, listen, I had to get something off my chest tonight, and that's what I did. Now, when it gets 11 o'clock, if we go to 11 o'clock, I'll keep my broadcasting voice down. Haha, says KR. Roger Shue again. Hey, KR. KR says, hi, sir. Hope you're doing well. Go USA. Of course, all eyes will be on tomorrow night. I mean, what do you think of that game, the nation's final there with USA versus Canada? And we'll be locally here at Thomas P's hanging out with the roommates and Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, probably eating some wings, maybe some fried pickles. You're more than welcome to come by if you like to, Mr. Leo Haggerty. But what do you think of this game overall tomorrow night?
The tone will be set right before the puck is dropped. Keep in mind that the Canadians are now the visitors.
Mm-hmm.
So John Cooper will put his team on the ice. If he puts the Goon Squad out there, I want to see what the USA does.
The Goon Squad, I love it.
And if they put the Tchukis up there,
yes,
we're
Kachucks.
going to have another 2-second Donnybrook. It's going to look like, an Irish wake. Everybody's going to be drinking. Everybody's going to be swinging.
Well,
and I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
This is must-see TV.
It really
I put
is.
it up on my post today.
Yeah.
The fact that these guys are playing this hard. Hey, NBA, are you watching? Because if you don't come up next year with a 4-nation playoff instead of this god-awful all-star game, that I can see more defense played on the daggone playground than you play in that. Let's put together. Peter, tell me people wouldn't watch this. I mean, millions of people, hundreds of millions, would watch a team from the United States, a team from Europe, a team from Africa, Asia, and Australia, and a team from the Americas minus USA, Canada, and South America.
Sure.
Tell me that eyeballs wouldn't be on that. And if the NBA doesn't see that, get your head out of the sand and start watching the Liberty commercials, because Emu, the emu, is sitting there and Lemu's going, ah.
Very good, Leo Haggerty of Amped Up Sports here.
I'm amped up. Hey, I'm the one who can bring the passion and bring the excitement because I don't have any roommates.
That's it. You don't have any roommates. Absolutely, Leo Haggerty. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about as we're live here on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, Twitter. Facebook stars are open, YouTube super chats, and also why I'm on TikTok tonight and not on Instagram. We may be back on Instagram here in just a little bit, just trying to figure out, but also there's gifts on there. For love of TikTok, Peter, thank you very much for tuning in all there on TikTok at this point. Let's go ahead and go out to Ed. I only see Godwin as a Bucs for life. I mean, is that what you see? You don't think he gets... Do you honestly think he gets a big-time deal from Jacksonville or the Raiders? They overpay and he jumps for the money, or do you think he is a Bucs for life, a Buck for life?
All depends on the money, Peter.
Okay.
If it's stupid money, because this is his last contract, let's be honest. This is probably the last one he's going to get.
Sure.
If the Bucs can stay competitive with it.
Right.
Why would I not want to sit there and have Mike Evans next to me? Why would I not want to sit there and have Baker Mayfield throwing to me?
Right.
Why would I want to go someplace else? Again, I'm going to go back to Cincinnati. If they franchise T. Higgins, because if T. Higgins can walk, guess where T. Higgins played in college, Peter?
Clemson.
Guess who the quarterback of Jacksonville is?
Trevor Lawrence. That's a great...
Connect those dots real quick.
Well, you definitely would connect those dots, and at the end of the day, you would think Cincinnati would try to franchise him so they could get some value, and that they
they franchised him twice already.
Well, then it would go up like Chris Godwin with 144%. Which, listen, all of us deserve, who are out there working right now, whether I get sent home or not, would love 144% raise, $39 to $41 million. You're getting paid like a quarterback. It's just not going to happen when it comes to Higgins, even though he is a talented wide receiver and could definitely be a one. But if you're Higgins, why would you want to leave Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals with Jamar Chase? And once again, it comes down to, do you want to win or do you want to pay? Yeah, that's it. It's all about the money. All right. Ed says, my confidence is 8.9. Again, that's the question for the night, Bucs fans. Open phone lines if you want to get on and talk to the legend. Yours truly here. What's your confidence level with getting Chris Godwin re-signed as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer from 1 to 10? I told you it's 9.5, 9.8 at this point. Leo, what's your confidence level?
If Higgins gets franchised, it's a 4. If he doesn't, it's an 8.85.
All right, 8.85 there with the what are you, figure skating judge there with the swimming reference from the Olympics.
I had the Russian judge in the other room, and he was telling me, niet.
I guess you do. Open phone line, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Let's go out to London, K. Hey, Peter, what's going on? Welcome to the Evolution. Let's go out to Edward Kirby. The Bucs can clear up $50 million over lunch. I mean, $66 million with the restructures and stuff like that. And again, I don't act like I know all about the numbers when it comes down to it. I just let those people deal with it. And at the end of the day, it's not my money. Like I get so incensed by this. There's so many well, he would cost too much, so I'm not willing to spend that. Look at the statistics over time for Chris Godwin and what he's done for this team and what he's done for this community. You keep that guy. He's not a diva. He hasn't been a T. Higgins. He hasn't been, a disturbance. He hasn't been a diva. And that's tough to find when you got a talented wide receiver like Mr. Godwin, because he goes about his business as a professional, and not every wide receiver. In fact, the majority of wide receivers in the National Football League never go about their business like Evans and Godwin. That's why I always tell Bucs fans, be blessed to have both of those wide receivers in the fold, because you're not sure if you're ever going to have that again. Let's go out to Roger Shoe, broken ears, and once again, you're trolling me. And this is what you get for that. London, I think she sent something there. If she sent some stars, we appreciate that. Can't see it right now. KR says, I like Godwin to stay, in my opinion. Ed says, Peter H. Blake, you were sent home early voluntarily. Basically, they heard me on a recorded line say, I'm done. And the manager came up. Love you to death, Lorraine Scotty Pippen, as I do the intros at work, as I'm Mr. Positive. She said, you want to go home for the day? And I said, yep, I'm pretty much done. I'm pretty much toast. Let me go here, because if you don't, I'll probably either jump out the window or get fired, because I'm going to have to curse somebody out. So yes, I was sent home, and we'll recharge tomorrow and see what happens. There is a difference between being injured and declining. Absolutely correct. Christopher Cole says, evening, everyone. Evening to you.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to Christopher Cole again. Restructure. And explain to the people out there, and keep on using that word, of what the Bucs can do, what other NFL teams can do when it comes to the salary cap. Explain what restructure means, essentially.
You can take a contract, basically rip it up, and change the amounts and change how it's being done. What you can do is take a contract and create bonus money out of it.
Right.
It's the signing bonus. Because if you put somebody, let's say we're dealing with $30 million, and you're going to give them a $20 million signing bonus,
right,
over 3 years. That $30 million doesn't come in this year. It's 10, 10, and 10.
Right.
So there are a bunch of creative ways that you can go about doing a new contract by restructuring it. Think about it as, what they're doing on the Howard Franklin Bridge. They're basically making a new bridge. They're restructuring it.
They're restructuring it. Yes, absolutely. So I just got a text from Terry the Greek. He says he just got out of work, so he actually stayed the full day. That's amazing how that works sometimes. So good. He said he may be on in 10 minutes, so we'll see if we can get Mr. Terry the Greek.
Yeah, because I'm pretty much in the 2-minute warning here, shortly.
I know you're running out of time here. We got you for a little bit longer, and then at that point, it's going to be just me and you. And I won't try to sing to you guys. Valentine's Day is past, and there's a reason why I was alone by myself on Valentine's Day, because of that singing voice right there. Let's go out
by myself.
Yes, absolutely. Well, listen, I went out and drove my Tesla, my Go Bucs Red Tesla, and made about $200 in 4 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
I would say,
I bet if you had that recorder on, you could probably sell it.
Oh, we could absolutely sell it. That would be a great idea, wouldn't it? All right, Peter, I'm here, your favorite troll. Appreciate that, man.
This guy sucks.
Let's go out to Cam here. Peter, we need a new head coach.
No, I can't agree with that.
It's the other night. Once again, I think fans, and I posted today, I said, what's your confidence level in Chris Godwin? And there's always one person that goes, fire Bulls. There's no way you're going to fire Bulls, and they still say it. I mean, it's going to be a thing. Do you think that this fan base will ever embrace Todd Bowles, in your opinion?
No.
Nope. Why not?
Not happening unless he wins the Super Bowl.
Okay.
These folks forget about pre-Bruce Arians and pre-Tom Brady when it were long seasons.
Yes.
I mean, it was just, wow, look out. Not good.
Yeah. What are you watching over there? Because you're watching. What are you watching over there?
You know what? They got a craziness going on here. It looks Oh man, yeah. Brad Oaks, Alabama's getting stomped up at Missouri, and Brad Oaks just threw the clipboard down.
Uh-oh.
But bada bing, right down the guy.
Well, the Bob Knight there, Bob Knight there. Yeah, we got college basketball right around the corner. We'll have our media icon himself, Mr. TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network. He does a college basketball show, college basketball coast to coast. We got to get him on there. The great Jason Powers, the superstar himself from Spectrum Sports. We'll definitely have to get him on here very soon. Let's go out to Cam again. Peter's Rolex can be our new defensive coordinator. Once again, spewing nonsense. Let's go out to I'm right. Hi, Peter. What's going on, boss? How you doing? Who do you got? USA, Canada tomorrow. Of course, it's always USA. Come on now, man. I'm all about USA, especially when the fans are booing it. I get it. They have their reasons, but you don't boo the USA national anthem and not have some consequences for that. And the USA just showed you when you boo the national anthem, when you disrespect this country will kick your ass. There you go. All right. Let's go out to Space Windu here. The Bucs are being disrespected already. Laugh out loud. Absolutely good comment there. Let me give you the Ric Flair. Let's go out to Blackie Lawless. What's up, Peter Blake? What's up with you?
Oh, yeah.
Go out to Cam here. Peter, would you rather hang out with Stu, the Rays owner, or lunch with Joe Biden? Can I just pass on both at this point? By the way, what do you think of this? I know we have talked about ad nauseum with the stadium situation, and I kind of compared it to what I was going through today. No after no after no after no. It feels like the same thing when we're dealing with the stadium situation and Stu Sternberg. Will they ever get this damn deal done? Or are we always going to continue to talk about it? And should Major League Baseball, in your opinion, force Stu Sternberg to sell the Rays to a local ownership that is going to do not only best by doing good business when it comes to spending money and keeping fan favorites, but also doing well to the fans?
Can't force them to sell the team, Peter, for being an idiot. You could force him to sell the team for doing things that are detrimental to baseball. Problem is the Rays win.
Okay.
In spite of him.
Right.
And I don't know what they can do about this. I truly believe we're watching a prequel of Major League. The hero wants the team to do bad so he can move them. I've said that for years, that he just doesn't look like he wants the team to win.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But, the problem right now, Peter, and I definitely tell everybody to read Joe Madden's book.
Mm-hmm.
Skip to the last chapter. You'll read about what's going on. General managers are calling down during the game and dictating strategy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're seeing a lot of older managers get out, because they can't do that.
Yeah.
And Joe talks about how it happened when he was out in Anaheim with the Angels.
Yeah.
And he was not real flattering to the GM, for sure. So,
well, I mean, most of the time, the GM in the front office is making those decisions, and a lot of people just kill Kevin Cash for the World Series Game 6.
Oh, Peter,
that's not Kevin Cash.
Worst decision I've ever seen.
Yep.
And I'm going to go off on this one.
Yes, please.
I'd have had no problem if Cash walked out and looked at his catcher and said, does he still have it?
Mm-hmm.
And if he'd have said, yes, give him the ball back and let him go. If he said, no, now make the move. But for him to take 2 steps out of the dugout just because it's the third time through, and somebody got the second hit against Snell, which was a daggone 14 hopper through the infield, he walks out. The look on Snell's face, and Peter, I told you this, I text you right away. He's gone.
Yep.
He's leaving.
Yep.
Because if you can't trust your guy, who is your ace on the staff, he struck out the first 3 guys on the Dodgers twice each. He's got 6 strikeouts in the top 3.
Right.
And that's Mookie's up in that crew. They were so happy to see him leave, and boom, game over.
Yep.
And everybody's saying, well, he wouldn't have shut them out. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll take my chances that he would have. So, my friend, I'm calling in, tell Harry, I'm calling in a left-hander.
Yes. Well, we got one final question here for you because it was directed towards you really quick. What does Leo think the contract would look like if the Bucs re-sign Godwin, and are any extensions they could be made like Vita? So I think what he's talking about is a restructure or something along those lines. I think that's what Dave, what do you think a contract would look like? And I'll throw this out there because this has been kind of, thrown out there in NFL circles. What if Godwin doesn't want to break the bank? What if he just signs a prove-it deal for a 1 or 2 year, proves himself that he is healthy, that he can, go off and have those same numbers he had last year before the injury, and then they re-sign him in a couple years? Is that a possibility of signing him to a 1 or 2 year contract at this juncture?
It's not really beneficial to the team, Peter, and here's why. Let's say we're looking at 4 years, $40 million. Okay? They're going to bankroll $20 million right now in a signing bonus. Okay, so now it's 5, 5, 5, and 5.
Sure.
They will backload that other $20 million, where he'll play for $2 million this year, $3 million next year, bang, bang.
Right.
And they may only guarantee $25 million of that, which is the $20 million signing bonus and the $5 million he's playing for. So that's what you got to look at, because a lot of these contracts are backloaded, because that's how you can restructure it. They want to have them have a very high signing bonus, but a very low salary.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes on the back, because and the players know right now, well, I'm signing a contract, I'm never going to see the end of it.
Right.
And they're pretty much becoming aware of that. But again, a lot of them are very open to restructuring. You just have to do it right.
You just have to do it right. Really quick, last one. Dan Graziano says that he believes Bosa is likely to be cut by the Los Angeles Chargers at some point before his $12.36 million roster bonus is paid out in March. Bosa is owed $25.36 million between his base salary and roster bonus in 2025. The 29-year-old has been a subject of cut rumors, also played in all his games. He's had injury problems. Didn't have a great year when it comes down to it. Played in 14 games, recording 13 quarterback hits, 5 tackles for loss, and 5 sacks. Is that somebody the Bucs should be interested in if he does get cut? At the end of the day, he's 29 years old. I get it. He does have injury problems. He may not necessarily come at the price of maybe a Myles Garrett. So should the Bucs kick the tires on him? And do you think Bosa will receive that attention around the National Football League, even though he is injury prone?
He played in 14 to 17, so you must not be that injury prone.
Right.
So I'll tell you what, Peter. I'm kicking the tires on anybody who's an edge rusher.
Kick him.
Because you know what? There ain't a whole lot of them around.
Right.
So I think every team will do their due diligence on Myles Garrett. They'll do their due diligence on Bosa. They'll do their due diligence on Micah Parsons. They'll do their due diligence on Hendrickson. They will take a look at Sweat. They'll look at all these guys.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You shake the tree, not a whole lot of edge rushers fall out. So,
right.
Yeah. And again, San Diego, I always call them the San Diego Chargers.
Yes, Los Angeles.
Chargers,
yeah.
They may have told Bosa, look, we can't pay you this, but we can pay you this after we cut you.
Correct.
Keep in mind, there may be a wink-wink handshake deal here. So we'll see what happens with that.
All right. So, well, we shook the tree tonight. We got Mr. Leo Haggerty, the legend himself. We'll see you soon, my friend. We'll see you next Wednesday, unless you want to come on Monday. And just keep on watching the evolution of Sports Talk Television, because we may have some more guests in store. I'm just saying, you never know. That's why you got to tune into the
never know who shows up in the band, right?
That's right. The band, we always try to put the band back together. Leo Haggerty, appreciate the time here on the Sports Web, all right?
Have a great evening, folks. All
right, good stuff there. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. We'll come back to with me and you here. The open phone lines are there. What do you think about Chris Godwin? What's your confidence level at this juncture from 1 to 10? I told you it's a 9.5 to a 9.8, and it's rising. Of course, 2 more percentage points, and it's a 10. Where is your confidence level, especially with the big news last night that the Bucs and Godwin have come to an agreement to extend those talks until March 12th when the new year starts? We just talked about Joey Bosa. This, again, according to Dan Graziano. He says 5-time Pro Bowler Joey Bosa is expected to become a free agent for the first time in his career this offseason. Per ESPN's Dan Graziano, people I talked to believe Bosa is likely to be cut by the LA Chargers at some point before his $12.36 million roster bonus has to be paid out in March. Bosa is owed $25.36 million between his base salary and roster bonus in 2025. This is the second consecutive offseason in which the 29-year-old has been the subject of cut rumors. Graziano did note that there remains a possibility the Chargers attempt to bring Bosa back, especially with Khalil Mack, which I've heard some Bucs fans say, kick the tires on that. We heard from the legend himself, Leo Haggerty, saying you kick the tires on any edge rusher. In your opinion, is that what you do? Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons, if he's out there with trades. Open phone line, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. So we'll go back to these comments here. We'll get some mock drafts. It looks like we do have another guest. It's always good to have a guest. It's always good to have your friends around. And it's baseball season, too. I didn't forget about the Tampa Bay Rays. I did not, even though, there is some hate with the way I talk about the ownership. It does not affect how I cover this team. All right, so we'll get out to that guest in just a moment, but let's go ahead and read what Cam has to say here. Peter, Leo Haggerty looks like Mark Cuban and Bill Gates made a baby and named him Leo Haggerty. I don't know where to go with that.
This guy sucks.
Look at his face. You can see Mark Cuban and Bill Gates at the same time. Cam says the meteor will hit 2033 before Peter reads all the comments. Not true, because I'm reading them right now. Mike DeRoche in Canada, my friend, hang in there. Keep on fighting the good fight. As always, hopefully you enjoy that hockey game tomorrow night. 7.25 Godwin gets signed. Okay. KR says, question if T. Higgins gets tagged, wouldn't Cooper Kupp be up in free agency rankings unless he is a cap cut? Well, I believe he is still with the Rams at this point, and that's why the trade discussion. So he can be outright cut, and there are teams out there that will go like, okay, we'll just wait it out. We'll wait the market out. We won't give anything up, and then the Rams cut him, and that could certainly be a possibility. Or they trade him for something because the value will be out there for Cooper Kupp. And, of course, the value will be out there for T. Higgins and Deebo Samuel. Like I said, the wide receivers are definitely going to be traded in this offseason. Kupp and Samuel, both of those players out of the state of California. As I just saw Ray Kennedy come in, and now he's out. So hopefully he comes back in here. The Bucs better watch out with their restructuring because Elon Musk and Dodge may come pay the front office. Bulls can't get Bucs to the next level. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, that's your opinion. There's some fans that feel that way. Why do you feel that way, Tribal Troll? Get on the phone line. Tell me why. I know there's fans out there that feel the same way. Remember what Lewis Murphy said, lay off of Todd Bowles. Have some grace. That's a former player on the Rock Stops Here podcast. They were Rock Riley. We'll have to have him back on the show. But why do you think that? Roger Shue. Open phone lines if you want to call up, 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Let's go out to D. Roche here. I wonder if USA fans will boo Canada's anthem. I don't know. I hope not. The Canadian fans aren't booing the USA anthem. They are booing that orange-haired dictator, not the USA anthem. Dave says, thanks, Leo. You were the man. Christopher Cole, I'm at a 7. Why are you at a 7, Christopher Cole? Put that in the box there. Let's see. I don't get how some fans say Godwin is injury prone and let him walk and sign Kupp. I mean, really, Kupp is injured a lot, but they are nagging injuries that have plagued him throughout the season usually. Absolutely. Absolutely, they have. They have plagued them ever since Cup signed that big-time contract. That has absolutely plagued them. You're absolutely correct when it comes to hamstrings, and that's usually not a good sign. That's why, once again, going back to it, the Bucs are so, knock on wood, fortunate to have Evans with, a big-time contract extension, didn't have, nagging injuries like Cooper Kupp has. But ever since he signed that contract, it has not been the greatest injury health, or not the greatest health, if you will, for Kupp. I'm not going to ban him. It's okay. I'm about a 7 for Godwin. Why are you 7? Sun Devil Dave, USA versus Canada, Stanley Cup style atmosphere here. We had Ray on. I don't know where the hell Ray is at. So I guess he's taking the night off. I don't know what's going on there, but Tampa Bay Ray, come on back if you want to. So, once again, that question, would you want Joey Bosa? What do you think about Tristan Wirfs and those comments about, getting Myles Garrett, that it's not that crazy? It seems like they're definitely embracing the possibility of getting a generational talent. And as crazy as everybody says it is, with, giving up this pick and that pick, at the end of the day, you have to make that move because your championship window is open at this point. That's what you got to go for. You got to make those moves sometimes. Vita Vea is not getting any younger. Levante David, of course, is not getting any younger. Mike Evans is not getting any younger. Baker Mayfield, 29, 30 years old, still got some years here. Chris Godwin still has some years here, but there's some players on this team still, even with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being one of the youngest teams in the league, you still have that window that will be closed here in the next couple of years. So you got to take advantage of it, in my opinion. Now, going back to the cap situation, of course, that was the other big story with the National Football League, raising that cap to 275. All right, hold on a sec here. I don't know what's going on. I guess that is TikTok telling me you have not been active, which I kind of disagree because I'm right here, TikTok. So there you go. That was their warning there because I have not been active. I'm active right now here on the Evolution. Again, the story with the NFL going up 53 million here in the last 2 years. So it's tremendous. All right. So let's go out to this guy. I want him to explain where he's saying and why he's saying the Todd Bowles is not going to get him over the top.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to the tribal troll here, Roger Shue. Welcome to the Evolution.
What up?
What's going on, boss? How you doing?
Good. How was your day?
Day was terrible, bro. You know that.
After that,
well,
what'd you do?
After that, I show prepped. I rested. I relaxed. I hung out with Alexander. I saved money on my car insurance. I did everything that you don't do. And
I can save you money on your life insurance.
There you go. You save money on your life insurance, and I would say
What?
Exactly. That's what I would say.
Man. All right. So
yes.
back to the bowl.
Yes.
Bowles cannot get the Bucs to the next level.
And why is that?
He doesn't have the ability. He's had 4 years. What has it been? 4 years he's been head coach?
Well, at first, he's progressively gotten better every year. 8 wins with Tom Brady. I get it. There was distractions, but still winning the NFC South, getting eliminated by the Dallas Cowboys, which you never want to get eliminated by the Cowboys because they can't win a playoff game besides if it's the Bucs. So they get eliminated in the first round, comes back with Baker Mayfield the first year there, 9 wins, and then gets 10. And, of course, a lot of Bucs fans will point. There's a lot of media pundits out there that will point to Bowles should have had this team to more than 10 wins at the end of the day. But you still win the division. You still have injuries, and you're still able to overcome that. So progressively, he's gotten better every year. Why do you feel like Bowles will not get them over?
They're not getting progressively better enough to advance.
Mm-hmm.
He's content winning the NFC South, and that's it.
Bro, I don't think he's content.
He's happy with
I don't
that.
think they're content with winning the NFC South. I think it's just it is what it is. People say a couple years ago the NFC East was the NFC least, and look how that's built up. If you want to say one of the worst divisions in football, it's obviously Duval, the AFC South there, doing my best freaking Liam Cohen, which is awful. You got the Jacksonville Jaguars, the greatness that never was.
By the way, Ian Cunningham interviewed today for their general manager position from the Chicago Bears.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. For the general manager position?
Yes.
Okay. Well, congrats. I don't know who that is. So you have to. Why is that exciting for you?
It's not.
Okay.
I hope he doesn't get it.
Hope he doesn't
goes
get
away.
it. Okay. Well, there you go. So you hope he doesn't get it.
Todd Bowles cannot get the Buccaneers to the next level.
Was it clock management? I mean, what is it?
It's everything.
Okay.
I don't think he has the mental capacity to get the offense, defense, special teams all on one page and get to the next level.
Does the team not play for him? Does the team not play for him? Has this team been blown out? Besides the Denver Broncos last year, has this team not played in close games and played for him? Have they ever quit on Todd Bowles? Yes or no?
I wouldn't say yes. I wouldn't say no.
What do you mean
I think they were doing their
yes
jobs.
Or no, they are not quitting on Todd Bowles. You know the answer already. You know they're not quitting on Bowles. Come on now. Stop it.
I think they're doing their jobs.
Okay. All right. What else?
Okay. How many more years are you going to put up with him without winning, even getting further than winning your division, the NFC South?
Listen, I don't think anybody's content with that. I get that. I understand that, that whole thought process, but also you have to understand, it's not a slouch thing to win your division every year. It's not a bad thing. Yes, there's going to be a time, and there may be this year, where the expectations are going to be there, and you have to do something with it, and you have to definitely win more than one playoff game at this point. So I agree with you.
I just don't see it. I really don't. I'd like to see it happen, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to get him over the hump.
Okay.
I mean, Dungy was in the same situation. Gruden came in, got him over the hump with Dungy's team, but Dungy couldn't get the job done.
Right.
I think it's the same kind of situation.
It may get to that situation, but I don't think it's at that situation yet. We'll see. All right, Roger Shue, appreciate the time as always, my friend. Use that second call.
Also, one other thing.
Yes, go for it.
Screw Sternberg.
Okay.
Screw the Rays.
Screw the Rays. Why are you saying screw the Rays? Okay.
Go somewhere that wants them.
Okay, first,
obviously St. Pete does not want them.
Okay, that's not true, because the deal has been done for the last 60 days where the bonds were approved and the financing is there. It is the Rays and the holdup. And by the way, they're blaming the city because of 2 catastrophic hurricanes coming through the area and costing them $150 million, which is preposterous at this point. To even blame the community for worrying about their people losing homes, losing their businesses, costing them $150 million. They are completely tone deaf when it comes to financing and the way the world is working right now, especially in this community. So it's not screw St. Pete. It's not screw the Tampa Bay area. They have done everything in their power to make the Rays happy, including giving them a sweetheart deal. They got what they wanted, and they still want more. So it's a joke at this point. So stop with the nonsense on that.
Sternberg is the worst owner in Major League Baseball.
Okay, now we're cooking. Now you're absolutely cooking.
He is a lifelong Mets fan.
Yep.
If he wanted to become an owner, he should have got with a bunch of other business people, bought the Mets.
Right.
He would have been much happier.
Okay. All right. Let me.
He can't keep talent. He doesn't care what the fans or what they have. They're a fan favorite player. Those are the first ones that he picks to ship them out the door.
I got you. Okay.
And you agree with that, correct?
I definitely think you can say that even though the Rays are 5th in wins when it comes down to it, they haven't signed their fan favorites. He continues to talk about this fan base, and he continues to talk about the local politicians and the people in the community, and he does no favors, and that's the reason.
I really don't believe there is a fan base. They get what, 4,500, 5,000 people a game?
You're so full of garbage. You really are.
I mean, for example, look at the Chicago Cubs. 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, they get 45,000 people in the stands.
How many years do they have on the Rays at this point?
That Rays have been around for what, almost 30 years?
No,
come on.
They've been around for about 25 years from last year. So it's 26, and they don't have a tradition.
2 generations that they could have had as a fan base.
And when they've gone in and tried to spend money on their own fan favorites and players and star players and free agency and make their team competitive. The reason why people love the Cubs is because they're lovable losers, but they also have won a World Series. I get it, 108 years. but they try to win every year. Rays fans don't feel like that. They feel like what Stu throws out there every year, that they don't have the money to spend, that they're not going to do enough, that it's going to be tough to swallow and all this other nonsense. And they're always in Major League Baseball, they're always one of the lowest spending teams in the league. And that doesn't okay, so that's you can't compare the Cubs.
Look at the revenue versus what they spend on the team on players.
I agree with you on
sickening.
that. I agree with you on that. Completely agree with you on that. All right.
Basically, the Rays are the farm club for the rest of Major League Baseball. You go to Tampa, you develop your skills, and as soon as you do, you're out the door.
All right.
That is sickening.
It is sickening.
The first thing that aggravated me with the Rays is what they did to Rocco Baldelli. Loved him as a player.
Well, there's been other cases. Evan Longoria.
There's been tons. But Longoria as well. That's another one.
Blake Snell.
That's
Tyler
why
Glasnow.
I can't be a fan, because they're a garbage organization.
It's tough to be a fan, but then you're saying in so many words there's no fan base. Well, the reason why there's not so many fans that are going to embrace the Rays is because it's tough to embrace the Rays, because every year you're trading away a fan favorite. So I got you. What else?
I agree.
All right.
That's it, man. Have a great night and great rest of the show. I'll be watching.
All right. In here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you as always. As I don't know what happened there, but you gotta love technology. As always, open phone line 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. So we'll continue to read the comments, expecting a call from Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, as he was tuned in, and then all of a sudden, I guess his laptop has gone out. I don't know if he didn't charge it or whatever. So maybe we can get Ray on here. Let's see. Godwin's injuries have been concussions, a dirty hit to the knee, and a hip drop tackle. He's not injury prone, as some fans say. Agree. Completely agree with that. And again, what he provides for this team with his attitude, coming back from injuries, being a guy that barely ever drops a pass, doing it in a professional manner, not only on the field but off the field, should matter. And I'm just surprised and taken back how fans are, Jalen McMillan, he stepped on at this point. Okay. I'm still here, guys. Stand by. This is crazy here. This is absolutely crazy. All right, hold on. As we are on, I guess I'm on TikTok still, but I'm not on StreamYard. So you got to love that. Let's see if we can get this fixed. Here we go. Let's see here. Hold on a sec. On here. It's crazy. All right. Stand by for a moment. Yep. It's this is what it's going to be right now. Let's see here. Control. All right. Okay, we still here? Stand by. Guys can still hear me, right? All right, stand by. You don't have me as Gotta love this. Right. There we go. Let's see if that'll work. All right. There we go. Okay. We're back. I don't know what to say at this point. So we will just shut down the program there for a moment and we are back here. So there we go. All right. Let's see. Yeah, always adjustments on the fly here. Don't have my thing up. So let's try this as we try to produce on air. Watch this. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if this will work. Boom. Okay. That's fine. There we go. Okay. So we are back. Let's go ahead and read these comments. Can you guys hear me? Good. Okay. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. You got to love technology, even with the new laptop. Ugh. Oh. All right. Let's see here. Let's go with where were we at? Okay. Godwin injuries have been concussions, a dirty hit to the knee, a hip drop tackle. He's not injury prone, as some fans say. Absolutely correct about that. Completely correct. Got to find out what Levante wants to do also. Good point. Eagles were thinking the same thing last year about Nick Sirianni, stuck with him, and look what happened. Dave, Bucs and Commanders were stat-wise best teams in the NFL since Week 12, had a top 5 offense and defense. Let's go ahead and read that comment again there, Sun Devil Dave, as I got to work on getting your sound effects there. But Bucs and Commanders, stat-wise, best teams in the NFL since Week 12, had a top 5 offense and defense. Boom. There it is, right there. That's what all you need to know. Let's go out to Space Window here. The team has absolutely improved every year, yet they say the Bucs are on an even playing field as the Bears. How? Right. They're not on an even playing field with the Bears. They're not, because you know why? They're making the playoffs. They're winning divisions over and over again. They're getting progressively better. Space Window, appreciate you tuning in as always. And you go from 8 to 9 to 10 wins. That's progression. That's the reason why you keep the coach around. And I understand it. You know, I'll continue to talk with fans about this. You know, why don't you think Todd Bowles can get this team over the top? I want to know. Good evening, Peter. Good evening to you.
Woo!
Let's go out to Roger. Shoot, your laptop is like Ray's laugh out loud. No, it's just, it's differently. It's like separate programs, and the program in itself is not working the way it should. That's all I can say. And there's nothing I can do about it besides adjust on the run. You see how that is? Like, I can adjust that, but there's other things I can't adjust in my life. But we're all back on again. All right. Love Chris Godwin. Prototypical Buck. Never want to lose a person like him. Laugh out loud. Let's go out to Dave. I like McMillan a lot, but he's just not a Chris Godwin. Let's go out to Sun Devil Dave. I don't have your sound effect, my friend, but great job to you. What's going on, boss? How you doing tonight?
Great job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And real quickly, I want to can we segue into something a little different?
Sure, go for it.
Can we talk about LeBron James?
We can talk about LeBron James. Well, you want to talk about LeBron James? Go for it.
Real quick.
Yes.
I always talk about how he's a selfish crybaby, but I know he's the greatest player of all time. I never met the guy. I do believe he's a great father, great husband, great ambassador to the game.
Sure.
Gives back to the community, education. I really love Bronny James. I love his son, and I wish him the best.
Right.
But what I think he did, even though I believe he's selfless on the basketball court, the way he facilitates and the way he makes players better.
Sure.
And he gives his players the highest percentage chance of making a basket. That's what his job is.
Right.
And he's the best passer, best assist guy, a phenomenal athlete.
Defensively, he's terrible.
Bitch.
Well, he is. He is. He absolutely is. He's always been like that.
I just felt the way he handled the All-Star game. I mean, yeah, maybe he was trying to get his ankle. He wanted to play so badly on Sunday night.
Right.
But I think by Thursday or Friday, he should have reached out to Silver and said, you know what, Silver? Commissioner Silver, I'm not going to be able to make it. Let's go ahead and get Sabonis, or I know there's a couple guys on the bubble that are trying to get an all-star slot.
Right.
He's going to get his 21st all-star bid whether he plays or not. We understand that.
Correct.
He could have easily, and he could have, first of all, he should have dressed up, him walking around the street clothes, and then waiting till, I believe, 2 hours before the game or to make that decision.
Yeah.
And to say, I'm not going to play. And then to take away that slot where they could have given it to somebody else. And they could have, reaped the rewards that, hey, I'm going to be an all-star game. Sabonis. I think I forgot the other guys that were on the bubble there. But I just thought that was just a truly selfish act. We go back to the decision back in 2011.
Yeah.
The way he handled that, I thought that was selfish as well. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, about how you feel.
Yeah, no,
maybe I'm overreacting.
No, I don't think you're overreacting at all. And I think, look, at the end of the day, James represents the NBA and has represented the NBA for the last 20 to 21 years.
Yes.
And there's no denying the statistics and no denying the accomplishments. But I will say that it's a bad look. It's always been a bad look with LeBron, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care about if he takes his talents to South Beach, if he goes back to Cleveland, I get it, he wins a championship, and then he goes here, and then he gets coaches and general managers fired. He doesn't care.
Right.
He just cares about the money. He cares about himself. He cares about the brand. The brand is suffering because of LeBron James. The brand is suffering because of the play in itself. And I don't want to be like the old guy, get off my grass, but you're watching the 80s, you're watching the 90s, you're watching the physicality of the game. You have the big men there. You have the Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics and Larry Bird and Isaiah Thomas and Charles Barkley and, of course, Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. And you have the greats. And I'm not saying there's not greats in this game. At the end of the day, everybody in the NBA makes the Hall of Fame when it comes down to it. No doubt they're more athletically gifted maybe than some of the players in yesteryear. But I also think, big man shooting threes, just shooting threes all the time. The play of the game has suffered. The All-Star game has suffered. And is it a good look when LeBron James, sits out? It's a terrible look. And it's been a terrible look. And this league is in flux right now because you have players with missing games for this and missing games for that.
Load management.
Load management this, okay?
Right.
If you're a fan and you're trying to pay to go out and see NBA athletes on any given night, there should be no load management. But that's the difference between the game today, and that's the difference between the game of yesteryear. And, of course, it's politics. We don't talk about it on this show because there's a reason. People don't want to talk about politics. And the NBA for the last 5 years has tried to throw politics down everybody's throats. And the fans have said, you know what? I don't care if you're on the right side, the left side. I just want to watch NBA basketball when it comes down to it. And that also has hurt the brand of basketball, in my opinion.
Right. And I think maybe this was a way of him basically trying to get back at Lakers management and Mavericks management, the way they handled that whole Luka AD trade, because there was no transparency. I mean, how would you really feel if you're LeBron James and AD and Luka if you weren't told about this trade? I mean, isn't that kind of like a slap in the face by not getting any type of feedback?
It is to a certain degree, but the Lakers have turned. You're going to turn the page on LeBron. LeBron's not going to play forever, and the Lakers have said, you know what, Luka is the guy that's going to be the future of this team. He's the future superstar when he wants to be. He has to do a better job of getting himself in shape. He has to do a better job of taking his game to the next level by playing defense and being able to stay healthy and be a leader. And was he that in Dallas? Well, obviously, Dallas wanted to move on to Mr. Glass, a.k.a. Anthony Davis. And, oh, by the way, he's hurt again. So,
we're talking about trying to rescind the trade, but that ain't going to happen.
Right. They're not going to rescind the trade. It's ridiculous. And listen, Dallas deserves that. If you wanted to move on from Luka and their fans are not happy about it, and they shouldn't be happy about it, but I understand where Dallas is coming from because they're trying to get as much value, but you couldn't get more value than that. A broken down Anthony Davis. I get it. He's won a championship. He can't stay healthy, man. If he tripped on a banana pill, he would be hurt. If he sneezes, he's going to be hurt. I mean, and it's shown.
True.
You get a guy like that for Luka, who could be
Right.
a superstar if he decides to take the game seriously and decides to take that next step. Good for the Lakers. They're not going anywhere this year. They're going to build around Luka eventually. That's their plan. Dallas is not going anywhere anytime soon. So, but for the NBA, for the brand itself, the game is messed up. Fans know it. There's problems with the game. There's problems with the All-Star game, and it showed. People don't care about the All-Star game. It's down, 13, 14% when it comes to ratings. The NHL has it right. At least the NFL with their Pro Bowl and their flag football, it's at least entertaining, and they're doing a good job of promoting. I had no idea that the NBA All-Star game was this weekend. Did you?
I watched bits and pieces of it. I mean, I just, I watched the last couple of quarters. Now they do that play to 40.
Sure.
And they had the rising stars. And then there was controversy there because I think Draymond says, why should the rising stars play an all-star game? They're not all-stars. They're just, backup players. They're young players, but they shouldn't be playing in the all-star game.
Right.
Because I think they had it split up with squads like Shaq's OG squad and Barkley's squad. And
I mean, who cares? Do you know any of that? Did you know any of that? Did you even know who's in the slam dunk contest? Because the guy who's won it 3 years in a row is from the G League. I mean, it's great for the Orlando Magic and their fans, but he's a G leaguer. I mean, how like LeBron has been talking about, and it's not all on LeBron, it's on the superstars themselves, making the dunk contest something that you want to watch. Wouldn't it be unbelievable if you could get some of these superstars to participate in this dunk contest? And yet you have none of them participating. You know why? Because first, they don't want to ruin their legacy. Second, they're most likely soft as Charmin. And third, there's no incentive when it comes down to it. There's no incentive at this point. So you got to incentivize it. You've got to make it worth watching. Again, congratulations to McClung for doing it, 3 years in a row. But I mean, just nobody cares about it. There's nobody watching it, and this is the reason why. There are big time problems in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree. And real quickly, I mean, I think tomorrow night, hopefully you can be able to watch that. It's so
I'm
amazing
watching it.
that this
I'll be down.
This is like a Stanley Cup final game. I mean, these guys are killing each other, 3 fights in the first 9 seconds, trash talk.
Yeah.
This game, I want to see the ratings because I wish that now the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball can see that. And maybe MLB will do something where, I know it's midsummer, but maybe they could do like a USA versus the World All-Star game. Or I know the NBA has been talking about it now. They want to do USA versus the World.
Sure.
Which is pretty cool. I mean, I think this is going to be amazing tomorrow night, and it's going to be must-see TV. It's going to be. I want to see if these ratings tomorrow night rival to Stanley Cup ratings from last summer. I mean, last June, or last 2-3 years, to see if it's about the same. Because I forgot. This is technically an exhibition game.
Right.
This is an all-star game, and I feel like this is like a world championship game.
Yes.
They call it the Four Nations, but. It's going to be amazing. I'm really, really stoked tomorrow. One other quick thing we talked about. I know Roger was saying how, Bowles isn't the man and he can't get.
By the way, how did you do a policy scout today? Because we all work at policy. How did you do today?
I got 25.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody did well today, and my mindset was like in the dumpster.
You just gotta have thin. You gotta have thin skin.
Dude, I just want to hang up on people.
It.
I just want to hang up on Esther and Winifred and Gertrude.
That's right.
And
what
I
were
want
you
to have
saying
my
earlier?
sound
You said
effects.
like, no, I'm not the car salesman, or I heard you saying it's like, no, I'm not the. You were saying something that when I walked by you, like, no, they mistook you for somebody else, like a car salesman or a vendor or somebody, and you're arguing with it. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Something was going on.
I answered the phone today.
It was a zombie.
And it was a zombie. Yeah, exactly. It was a zombie. Sun Devil Dave. It felt like zombies today attacking me and trying to eat my brains.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. Person goes, "Are you calling for my car?" And I'm like, "I'm not with your car. I'm trying to get you a life insurance quote." I just said it like that, and of course, it didn't come off well because the person goes, "Well, the hell with you." I was like, "Okay, great, awesome. Join the crowd there."
Just like Taylor, just shake it off. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
man.
oh, geez, serious.
Right. Shake it off.
There,
But,
That's great off the suck right there.
That's what you get for using that. That's what you get.
Real quickly, though,
Yes.
one thing I think people forgot about, I was just looking over some stats. Baker Mayfield, was he in consideration for MVP this year? Because I was looking at some of these numbers. 3rd in passing,
Yeah.
second in completion percentage,
Yes.
second in passing touchdowns,
Correct.
fourth in QBR.
Yes.
Okay, so top 5 there. Led the team. Remember, they won on that run where then they won like 6 out of the last 7, or what did they win like?
Well, I mean,
5 out of the last 7.
41 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, and the people will look at the interceptions and also look at the fumbles, which are included in there, which I believe is like over 20 turnovers total. So people
look at their numbers from week 12.
Correct.
Bowles is doing a good job. They were the best team. The Commanders and the Bucs were the best team, 2 teams in the NFL.
Do you have confidence that Todd Bowles can get this team over?
I absolutely do, because we lost because of a botched, snap and the stupid the handoff.
Yeah,
that killed us. And things happen in games like that.
Sure.
I mean, you go all the way back to what the Browns did with Biner and all those. Things happen in games.
Sure.
In crucial time, but they're right there. I mean, and what was sad is like they beat the Eagles. They had the Chiefs in overtime. I mean, they beat some really good teams this year.
Yeah.
And they weren't. I mean, look, they won 10-7, and they won a division. I know that Roger says, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a weak division." I mean, well, that's not their fault,
right?
They're not in charge. I know. Oh, by the way, the Red Rifle resigns with the Panthers. So
well, there you go, Andy Dalton.
All the championship pieces are falling.
That's great enough to suck right there. What?
Yeah, there you go.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Are you doing Turnbuckle Talk tonight?
We suck again.
Yes, we are doing Turnbuckle Talk tonight, although we don't have Ralph Williams. I sent a link to Mark Mancini. I just think everybody's like out to lunch right now. Like it's me and Leo, and then me and Leo against the world at this point. But I know people work. I know, I was
going to call back. Can I talk about Brock Lesnar, or do you want to call back?
Call back if you like to. I'm going to read the rest of these comments, and you can call back for Turnbuckle
You're
Talk.
Do around 11:15, or
no, I'm going to get out of here sooner than that. I'm probably going to start. I'm actually going to start. So you know what? Just we'll start. No, you call back in about 10 minutes.
All right. God bless you, man.
All right. God bless you, man. Yeah, absolutely. Go Devils. I know what you were going to say. Gonna get your sound effects going. So it's kind of crazy. Like we did the whole, thing here. I don't hear the laptop, which by the way, I gave it the name of Doomsday. I don't hear like the fan going off every 5 minutes. So it must hate the broadcasting program in the background. That's what it must hate. Because it's perfect now. I don't hear anything. It's so quiet. Like I have to be careful because again, roommates now, keep the broadcasting voice down because now they're sleeping and I don't want to wake them up. But yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and continue to read these comments. WTF says Dave Ruffalo. Tim, I could still hear you. Well, that's good. That's a good thing. Where's the Greek? Greek is working tonight. Hey, Dave, glad you're here, dude. Absolutely. We love Sun Devil Dave. He's become a regular webhead here. Gotta love that. Dave has said this before. He'll say it again. I'll go ahead and read it. I like the old laptop, Peter, better. Your new laptop is a temperamental new girlfriend. Yes, he is. We call him Doomsday or Doomsday if you want, if she's a she, which is would say that she's been a bitch ever since I got her. Oh, user error. That's on me. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you tuning in. It's live TV, baby. It is live. I was listening to the show this morning, and the Twitch and the YouTube went totally blank with about an hour left in the show. So it happens everywhere, but it does. You got to love the Wi-Fi there provided by who else? Spectrum.
That's great enough to suck right there.
Yes, thank you for that. LeBron is not the greatest player of all time. Not even close, says Roger Shue, the tribal troll.
Acknowledge me.
Will, right there. LeBron is not the greatest of all time. MJ is. Mike D. Roche. Michael Jordan is the best, not LeBron. Wow, I didn't think we were. If you had this on your scorecard tonight, fans tuning in to LeBron and MJ debate, well, there you go. Kobe was better than LeBron. Agree with you on that. Jordan played with a 104 FIBA. Who could forget that? What, game 6 versus the Utah Jazz there, the clincher? Is who it was? I believe that was right there. And, well, we're not going to say that. Okay. All right. Other Bucs news here, and we'll get to Turnbuckle Talk in just a moment. Sun Devil Dave, so you can call back. Likely NFL cuts. They have one for the Bucs. It's Jamel Dean. Zion McCollum enjoyed a breakout season in Tampa. now could be positioned for a big payday with an extension this offseason, but with less than $1 million in available cap, which has changed because the cap went up today. So it projects once again the Bucs to have about $8.4 million. But of course, they can make those numbers, they can skew those numbers, if you will, and make those work. And look at this. We may have somebody actually coming on. We'll see if we can get him on. He is on. So we'll get back to that in just a moment. But let me get his intro on. Hopefully he can hear it.
Mr. Kennedy!
Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, Best of Bay. Could you hear your intro on that at least? Did that work at least? Look at you. I can't hear you now. What's going on? Can you hear me? Okay, hold on a sec. I cannot hear you. So we'll go back.
I got you.
Oh, there you go.
Can you
There
hear me
you
now?
are, my friend. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. All right, we'll go with that shot right there.
Yeah, I could
So,
hear
yes.
earlier. Just the computer's being a pain tonight. I didn't want to use the B word since you already did there. Yeah, I mean, I could hear your Windows, the computer going bloop, bloop. So I think we still need to adjust some of those settings on the new, what's the name of the computer again? You just called it the
Doomsday.
Doomsday. We still have a few adjustments to make on the settings there on Doomsday because he's still being a bitch.
What do I like?
Yes.
I want to say that word all the time. What a bitch. You know, like I
What
wanted
a
to say it
bitch.
on the
Just-
phone. By the way, there's a story here. I'll go full screen. Now, I'm doing telemarketing, and Ray, hold up a minute now. I got caught about 10 years ago calling somebody a bitch, a lady, and I had to actually call her back. And, I was, of course, embarrassed to a certain degree. Just saved my job at the time. I was lucky I didn't lose my job because I called her a bitch and she heard it. She called back and I had to call her back and smooth things over. And guess what? She was still a bitch. All right. Let me go back. All right, Tampa Bay Ray. What do you know? Welcome to the evolution, my friend.
Well, I liked the intro you gave me there earlier, talking about the Rays and how we're getting excited for the start of spring training. First game Friday from Steinbrenner Field, which is actually the new Tropicana Field or the new Rays home field, or however you want to look at it. But I'm talking about tomorrow night, this game between Canada and the USA, and in the Four Nation tournament. I mean, I think that we've covered the fact that this is so much better than the NBA All-Star. It's so much better than the MLB All-Star. And then Lord knows it's better than the flag football game they play in Orlando. They call the NFL All-Star now at the end of the season or Pro Bowl. But I'm excited for this game, and win or lose, delighting John Cooper, the Canadian side. I like how some Canadians complained after the USA had beat them earlier, on Saturday. They said, they were getting a little pissed off that they weren't the best team. You got John Cooper and Breeze, and you got the Lightning line playing there, and Braden Point, and that was the best. Those are great players, but the USA team came to play this season, and I love the fact that tomorrow night this game, and I want to know what you think, Pete. You looking forward to this game tomorrow night between the USA and Canada for the Four Nation tournament?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. And I can't wait to see it because I'm interested in it. I'm as interested in it the first, 9 seconds of the game when they all started to fight. I'm interested in it because they're going out there and they're trying to win a game, and it doesn't yet. They don't have to be, have an incentive. They're doing it for the pride of the country. They're doing their pride of the nation. So I love it. I'm definitely going to be watching. I'll be locally at Thomas P's with, our good friend there, Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Science, or Rocket Sports and Entertainment, if you will, as Ray, you put that out there, and most likely the roommates there, if they don't kill me first for being too loud tonight. But yeah, we'll be out there eating wings, probably have some fried pickle chips, and hopefully USA goes on to victory. With that being said, the cap was increased today. I think I told you this. It was the foreshadowing was there, my friend. You said, cap issues, and I keep on saying they're going to increase it. And over the last 2 years, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, it's very interesting. I was doing my show prep there, of course, when I got sent home today, which is, a blessing in disguise because sometimes you need to recharge. $53 million over the last 2 years. What do you make of this cap increase? And it's going to favor the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because already the Bucs are $8 million over. Or $8 million under, excuse me.
Well, and we felt like we were reaching into the well back when Tom Brady comes here in 2020 and COVID and everything got frozen for a year or two there. And we knew that the cap would end up correcting itself, which we've seen now. And even without COVID and the correction, I mean, the NFL probably the number one thing going as far as increasing those revenues. But yeah, I mean, I love the fact, Peter, that you opened a show tonight talking about Chris Godwin and the fact that the cap is going up from 22 to 25 million. Let's call it in the middle what it is, but that would basically be the exact amount of money you'd need to retain a stud like Chris Godwin in the slot, and having the year that he had last week in the first 7 weeks of 2024, and having him as with Gizzard and what the Bucs are going to do in the offense in 2025. They do have to address that defensive side, but I love the fact that when Jason Light and Chris Godwin's camp, they extended to March 12th, which is the end of the league year. That obviously, like you said, makes a point that they're working to get a thing done, and that's been Jason Light's MO since 2014, since he took over this team. He shoots straight. He believes in keeping the talent here that we've developed, and he drafts good talent. So, I mean, why wouldn't you see Chris Godwin get a new contract here in 2025?
Yeah, and I thought it was encouraging news last night from Greg Allman to say that the Bucs and Godwin have extended, these contract negotiations, if you will, until March 12th, because that the dead cap figure of 18 million could have gone against the cap and would have hurt the Bucs, and now they're willing to work this out. I asked the question tonight: what's your confidence level with Chris Godwin being re-signed by the Bucs, 1 to 10? What is your confidence level? Why or why not? Do you feel like this will happen or will not happen?
Well, I love and Leo talked about whether T. Higgins is a free agent. I think that's a point, because if T does get franchised, Chris Godwin is the best. I would pose from the slot position, Chris Godwin, for me, maybe I'm a Bucs fan, so my goggles are a little shaded with the creamsicle, but I would say he's better than a T. Higgins, and I mean T. Higgins and what he's doing there with Jamar Chase and the Bengals, but at the same time, you talk about the extension of March 12th and, Jason Light talking with the players, and the fact, and I just mentioned that Jason Light's been a straight shooter since 2014 when he first took over a general manager's position with the Buccaneers. I think that's, again, after next year, Baker Mayfield's going to be doing a new contract, and you got to go to a Baker and you got to say, hey, Baker, we've kept a Chris Godwin, we've kept a Mike Evans, we like to keep the talent here. We've improved on the defensive side, and we won Super Bowl 60 there out there in Frisco, which is where it is next year. But I mean, you would hope that that's what you and Leo talked about here earlier in the show. The fact that Florida, with the income tax free state, is a $15 million deal in Florida is as good as a $20 million deal in Philadelphia. So you hope that you love that. That's probably, we have Tom Brady, Super Bowl 55, second championship. But one of the things that we've loved about the fact in this team in the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years is the fact that we've got a general manager who shoots straight from the hip. It's not going to go behind the scenes and try to make things happen in the background like other teams will. You look at the obvious, you're like, how can you keep two receivers at $45 million or $40 million a year? Jason Light shoots from the hip, and these receivers, these players, these football players, they want to continue to remain a part of the culture that Jason Light and the Buccaneers have here in Tampa Bay. So I think that as far as Chris Godwin signing, when I hear that they're extending it to March 12th and that's the end of the league year and the Bucs are going to get a cap relief as far as the new league year, I'm probably at a solid 8, because I really don't think Chris Godwin wants to go play anywhere else. Why would you want to when you can play here in Tampa Bay with what we have going on here?
Especially with the income tax. We're on with Best of the Bays, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy.
Mr.
Host Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Tristan Morse has some comments tonight on a show called Sports Grid, talking about Myles Garrett, how it's not crazy, just paraphrasing at this point. I mean, it's the second player we've heard from now. Mike Evans on the Loose Cannons podcast said Garrett would look good in red. You starting to buy a little bit of this Myles Garrett trade talk to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Ray?
There's 32 teams in the NFL. And I can guarantee you there's probably six teams that go right to the top as far as the team you want to be a part of, the culture, to be a part of the situation, and also have a shot at that championship. The Buccaneers are one of those six teams, and I can guarantee you if Myles Garrett, I hate to use the term he's championship shopping because the dude is just a stud. He's just a fantastic, he owns defensive end. He owns the pressure. I don't want to, I hate to say that, oh, he's coming here because he wants a shot at that, because again, it takes a lot of good luck, no injuries, and then some other things. And the NFL has to have you as part of their script to get to that championship or that Super Bowl there out in San Francisco. But I think that I'm not surprised a Myles Garrett or a Nick Bosa or was it Nick or Joe? It was Nick, right?
It's Joey Bosa. Could be cut.
Joey Bosa.
Point. That's been the other story there. Dan Graziano of ESPN reports because he's owed $25.36 million between his base salary and roster bonus in 2025. 29 years old. But definitely an injury-prone player. But as Leo Haggerty said, you kick the players, you kick the tires, don't kick the players. So you kick the players, they're not going to come here. You're not Urban Meyer here, not kicking the kicker or the you kick the tires on all these edge rushers at this point. Is Bosa a guy you kick the tires on, in your opinion?
This team right here, we're not talking about what Bosa's had to be the defensive pressure out there I want to say San Diego, but Los Angeles. But I mean, you don't have to come here and be the guy. You have to come here, and that's the best thing about what Jason Light. I sound like I'm just running for Jason Light tonight, but the best thing about the culture we have here in Tampa Bay and the ensemble cast, if you will, is that you don't have to come in here and be the guy. We're not going to pay you X amount of dollars, and we're relying on you to be part of an ensemble cast, and we've got one hell of an ensemble cast. And if you get a Bosa to come here, you don't have to give up those trade picks or those draft picks and get him a decent deal, give him what he's worth, but you can still get the secondary. You still address secondary. You can keep Levante David here for the 15th year, and you can go ahead and run at 60 there out there in Frisco. And I mean, why wouldn't you want to be part of that culture?
Let's go out to the
Acknowledge me.
Tribal Troll there, Mr. Roger Shue there in Newport Richie. What do you have to say using your second call here on the Evolution?
Hi, Tampa Bay Ray. Good evening. Hope you're doing good, man.
Yes, Roger. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
I'm doing good, man. Just having a beer or two, watching the best the podcast of the year for 2024.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You're absolutely correct about that.
Real quick question.
Yes.
What channel is the USA Canada game on tomorrow night?
Is it not
ABC?
It's on ABC, man.
Oh, that's a good point. It's a Thursday night on ABC.
Thursday night, ABC or on ESPN. I believe it's a joint broadcast.
Prime time, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock?
Yes, I believe it is 8 o'clock, not 9
Or
o'clock.
the Disney Channel. Because ABC, ESPN, I'm kidding. But if it's not...
I got both, so I'm good. One other thing, Pete.
Yes.
Real quick.
Yes.
I put it in the chat.
Yes. Dave,
Let's make Sun Devil Dave Roth a moderator.
you have the permission.
He deserves it.
You have the permission
and
to do it.
Do it to it, brother.
You have a permission to do it, my friend. If you want to do it, you can do it.
I can't. You're the one that has to do it.
All right. I will definitely work on that. I will do that. Dave, you have earned the status of being a moderator for the Sports Web. Congratulations.
Yes.
Good job, Dave.
All right.
All right. I'm going to keep watching the show. Are you doing turnbuckle talk or no?
We're doing a little bit of turnbuckle talk here in just a little bit. Ray's going to talk about what he saw in WWE Raw, SmackDown this week, along with NXT.
Good. Ray, thank you for coming, brother. We always appreciate you being here. You are the best of the Bay, Ray.
He is the best.
Love you, Roger.
You appreciate
and bring
you.
back the half shirt.
Please don't bring back the half shirt at all, ever. Don't even listen to Roger too. He's nonsense.
I want to talk to Cam Decker because I saw him make a comment earlier about where's gay Tampa Bay Ray, and he's the best troller out there. But you know what, Cam? Bring it to St. Pete because I'm ready to throw down, brother. You want to talk about let's do this thing? It's not a gimmick or a run. I'm ready to do you. And not like that.
All right. So you did that on purpose. Let's go out to the phone lines here. What's your name? Where you're calling from? You're on the Evolution.
Louis from Massachusetts.
Louis, what's going on? Bucs Frozen podcast, correct? Or the Frozen Buccaneer pot? What was it called?
the Frozen Pirate podcast.
The Frozen Pirate podcast. Why did I say the Frozen Buck? It's late, my friend.
It's all good, man.
Yes.
It's kind of a tongue twister, believe me.
It is. It's all right, man. But we appreciate the call. What's up, man?
Not much. I just kind of wanted to talk about what you guys were talking about with Chris Godwin.
Okay.
And the T. Higgins situation. So for me, T. Higgins has got to be the first domino that drops. And I honestly do think, I don't think T. Higgins is going to go anywhere. So with that being said, I think Chris Godwin is going to be a hot commodity come free agency if the Buccaneers don't get a deal done with him.
Okay.
There's plenty of teams out there that are looking at Chris Godwin, in my opinion. You got teams like the Baltimore Ravens who are in desperate need of a real, true number one wide receiver. You have, I wouldn't say Kansas City that comes into play, but I mean, you have the Raiders who are looking for a guy. You have a guy like Tom Brady who's kind of secretly maybe running the show out there.
Sure.
That was Tom Brady's favorite target, and for me, I think the Buccaneers definitely need to bring him back in. I think you could get a deal done with him due to the injury and the previous injuries.
Sure.
Maybe you're looking at maybe a team-friendly deal, anywhere between 15 and 17 million, due to the taxes, the way they set up taxes in Florida. Now, if you're looking outside of Florida, you're talking about like Baltimore and all that stuff, maybe that price goes up a little bit higher, but our team's going to be willing to pay that type of money for a guy like Chris Godwin. That's where I feel like it works out for the Buccaneers. It makes sense for the Buccaneers. I want to see him. I want to see Godwin back because I think he was on pace to having one of the best seasons by a wide receiver this year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it got cut short. And a lot of people were upset with Todd Bowles about that. Oh, we should have never let him in. Should have never kept him in the game. That's not true. You let those guys keep going, But I think it's all going to come down to T. Higgins. I don't think T. Higgins is going to go anywhere. I think he's going to stay right with the Bengals. I think him and Jamar Chase, that's a good one too. I don't think they're going to let him walk. And I think if that happens, I think a lot of teams are going to come knocking on Chris Godwin's door. I mean, like I just said, the Raiders, the Ravens, the Bucs. There's a lot of
the Jaguars.
The
Liam Cohen, right? The Jaguars.
I don't think he's going to go to the Jaguars. I think Liam Cohen's going to try and pull a trigger on a trade for Deebo Samuel. I honestly do. I think he can get him cheaper. We actually just discussed that on the podcast, how maybe the Patriots might be interested in a Deebo Samuel. Maybe they trade Deebo Samuel. Maybe they trade Deebo Samuel for they swap picks in that Deebo. They need a wide receiver, to pair up with Drake May. There's a lot of key factors going in. And this is a very heavy free agency class that has a lot of wide receivers. I don't know if you guys looked at that list, but there's a lot of wide receivers on there, man. But I think the top tier guys, T. Higgins and Chris Godwin are right up there. And I think once that domino falls with T. Higgins, I think he re-signs with the Bengals. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to want to, like maybe the Bills too. The teams like the Bills, the Ravens, like there's contenders out there that are in win mode, that are in win now mode,
right?
And that we all know what happens with that Super Bowl window every year. Teams, it just happened to the 49ers. It's going to happen with the Buccaneers. That window starts to close every year. There's teams that are in win now mode. So Godwin's number might go up. If I'm the Buccaneers, I'm going to try and they need to get something done as soon as possible.
As soon as possible, Louis. And, when that report came out last night from Greg Auman that Godwin's camp and the Bucs extended that deadline until March 12th, what was your confidence level? 1 to 10.
Right. 1 to 10, about a 6.
About a 6. Why 6 though? Because for me, I feel like, listen, if that is an extension till March 12th, it buys the Bucs time, and it tells me that Godwin is interested in coming back to the Bucs. A lot of people will, well, he hasn't hit the market yet. Well, maybe he doesn't want to hit the market. Maybe he wants to sign a prove-it deal. Maybe he just wants to stay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, much like what Mike Evans did, for the rest of his career. I think it's encouraging. I would say, like I said, I'm at a 9.5, 9.8. Maybe I'm an eternal optimist. You say a 6. Do you think that? Okay, go ahead.
I say 6 because we've seen a lot of crazy things happen, especially this offseason with offensive coordinators, and it's the NFL. The NFL is a lot like the WWF. Anything can happen,
yes,
right?
Love it.
And so I say a 6 because I don't see anything set in stone right now. And at the end of the day, I do believe he wants to be a Buck.
Sure.
I do believe that. I do believe him and Mike Evans are a great underrated 1-2 punch for wide receiver. He's like that 1B. Like Mike Evans is a 1A receiver, like that your primary one. But Godwin easily can go on any team in the NFL and be that number one guy.
Yeah.
And in the NFL, let's face facts. The NFL is a league where, I'm not saying all teams, but the Buccaneers do take care of their own. But who is to say that Baltimore doesn't come knocking on the door, or a team like the Commanders and say, hey, what are the Buccaneers offering you? Hey, we'll offer you 18, 19 million. If you're Chris Godwin, you just had two very bad injuries. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And at the end of the day, us as fans, we want to see him back. But kind of like the Liam Cohen situation, I wasn't mad that he did what he did. I mean, the way he did it was a little shady. But at the end of the day, you're talking about life-changing money. If something was to happen, him and his family have generational wealth, and that's what it kind of comes down to. That's why I don't take it personal.
Louis?
That's why I say with Chris Godwin, I hope he comes back as a Buck. I want him back as a Buccaneer. But if another team comes knocking on that door, a contender at that, do the Buccaneers find themselves in a bidding war? That's the possibility. But I say a 6 because I think he's coming back. But I just say a 6 because I've seen some crazy stuff happen.
Louis, we appreciate the call. As always, you got to get you on here next week to promote your podcast. But I want to ask you this really quick before we let you go. And you can use that second call. And by the way, Louis, when you call in, I want a sound effect. I want a sound effect for all you web heads out there, because once again, I would like to play music for you guys, but I feel like, YouTube and Facebook would ding me for copyright. So maybe we'll try the music or whatever. But if you have a music or you have a sound effect that you want to play every time you call in, because I expect you to call in from here on out, whether you're on the show or not, which will get you on the show, let me know, text me what you want. But
it's the Frozen Pirate podcast, right?
The Frozen Pirate podcast. So I cover the Buccaneers, and then we also do it all around the NFL.
Cold as ice. We got to get Foreigner cold as ice, because that just, Louis, you just locked it down. I agree with your 6, because at the end of the day, we forgive Liam Cohen for what happened, but at the end of the day, when we say the Buccaneers got till March 12th, they bought them time to the end of the league year, it also buys Chris Godwin's camp. I mean, he's taking care of him. He's taking care of his family. It buys them that time also to see what happens with T. Higgins, and that maybe and we're not going to blame a Chris Godwin. We love this kid, and we got a Jalen McMillan. We're like, okay, maybe we're okay there, but at the end of the day, you don't find a Chris Godwin every day. So, Louis, I agree 100%.
Yeah, Louis,
Absolutely.
I definitely agree with you on that. Now, the other story was that not only did the cap increase, so that gives the Bucs some hope, because again, they have $8 million under, and of course they can restructure and get even more under and get some more money. But Tristan Wirfs on a show tonight said it's not that crazy for Myles Garrett to end up in Tampa Bay with some of the trade rumors. Even Bill Barnwell of ESPN mentioned Myles Garrett. So are you starting to buy into, because this is a second player now for the Bucs that's mentioned Myles Garrett. So are you starting to buy this a little bit, Garrett to Tampa Bay, or no?
I think they're doing a great job at recruiting, and I think that this team is in that win now Super Bowl. At the beginning of this year, a lot of people called me crazy, but I said, listen, when Liam Cohen came in, I said, hey, I like this hire. I think you're going to see a different style of Bucs football, and I think the offense is going to carry this defense, and then the defense will kind of get it together. I mean, not all of it came true. But this is a team that I thought they could have competed for a Super Bowl, but unfortunately the injury bug caught up to them and this and that. I still feel going into this season that they're still a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion. I don't know how they can do it, but then again, I've seen them do things with the salary cap numbers. That is the salary cap even existing anymore? Is that like a real thing?
I don't think it's a real thing. For me, it's like the national deficit. We always talk about the national deficit every year. We're trillions and trillions in the hole, and yet you're still able to
I think
function.
The Bucs print their own money at this point.
Yes.
I don't know. But I mean, Myles Garrett to the Buccaneers, I was thinking about it the other day. I really wanted Max Crosby, but at this point, I think Myles Garrett, I wouldn't be opposed to that. And you're listening to two of our captains come out and speak out and say, hey, it's a possibility. And Mike saying on the Loose Cannon podcast, he looked good in Buccaneers red. And then Tristan Wirfs saying what he's saying. I think there's a strong possibility. And like I said, I don't really believe in a salary cap. I think that the Buccaneers are going to be just fine. Even if Godwin decides to leave, I still think the Buccaneers are going to make a splash impact on this offseason. And I promise you that this team is going to be competing for a Super Bowl.
Now, did I detect that you are also a wrestling fan, my friend?
Not as big as I used to be, but I still like. I still watch. I still like, especially with the Netflix now, them being on Netflix and stuff like that. I still watch from time to time. I feel like it's gotten a lot better in the past year and a half.
Okay.
I like the direction that it's kind of going into. I'm kind of intrigued again. I like the idea of them bringing factions back. I think that was missing for a long time.
Good point.
I do because I was really big onto the indie stuff, like how they did like the Bullet Club and stuff like that. I would like to see a reinvention of like the NWO, if you will, from like disgruntled guys, like mid-card guys that are not getting pushed. I'd like to see them kind of do a storyline where they kind of bring back like that NWO swag, if you will.
I don't know if they're going to
I got a lot
of
ideas.
Yeah, I know you do. Well, you hold those ideas on because we're going to have you on the show. Probably have you on a Wednesday night. We'll promote the podcast. We'll talk Bucs football, and then we will switch gears and talk with you about wrestling because we do a segment called Turnbuckle Talk. So we'd love to have you on that too. All right, my friend?
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, just feel free to reach out to me, and you just let me know a time and a date, and I'm there.
All right, man. Louis, I appreciate the time as always here on The Evolution, all right?
All right, man.
Good stuff there. A new caller, that's what you find here with all these social media platforms. We found him on Instagram, which we're not on tonight, but we'll get back on there. We were trying some things, and it just didn't necessarily work out because Lady Doomsday, which is the new name of the laptop.
I gotta name my laptop because the same thing happened to me tonight. I went all the way over. I charged it for 3 days. I get over to come in live with you, and it's doing update. Yeah, what a bitch! But I'm telling you what, Louis, Peter, that's your new buzzword. But Louis mentions there Tristan Wirfs. Of course, Mike Evans played. Mike Evans and Myles Garrett went to the same college and actually crossed over. But Louis points out 2 of your team captains are the ones out there that are promoting. I mean, that's a great point. So I'm going to check out the Frozen Pirates podcast and Louis because the guy knows what he's talking about, and he definitely sounds like a good guy.
He does definitely sound like a good guy and a resource here for the sports web. We always love those Bucs podcasts. I love Bucs fans in general, and I also love my web heads here. Sun Devil Dave will get your sound effect here soon. I know you're calling about Turnbuckle Talk. So, Ray, do you want to hang out for a little bit, read comments, and talk some Turnbuckle Talk? Or do you want to get the hell out of here like Harry does and run and go to your bed? Oh, so you want to hang out?
I'll be quiet and hang out, please.
All right. Let's go for it. Sun Devil Dave, go ahead with your second call here. We'll do Turnbuckle Talk. What's on your mind?
Thank you again. I know you were talking earlier about I think Tampa Bay was wearing a half shirt, and we were talking about jorts maybe and some mullets. And
that's the kind of people you encountered. Sun Devil Dave had a story where he was up in Tallahassee, and he nearly was a part of the second deliverance.
Hold on. This is here it is. Here's my new theme music. Hold on. There we go. There it is.
Which is the Jacksonville Jaguar theme song, so that works.
Well, consequently, that's where he was. I think he was up in the armpit of the South, if you will, Jacksonville.
Tallahassee.
Oh, well,
wait, in Duval? I'm kidding.
I love Tallahassee. I've never been there before. I love Tallahassee for Florida State. But then again, after that story that you told the other night, I don't know if I'm kind of apprehensive, Leo word, of going up there and being a part of deliverance too. With that being said, what's on your mind?
Real quickly, we're going to talk about Brock Lesnar.
Talk about it.
So here's the situation. They had some A&E show, or I saw some snippet where I think Michelle McCool, is she going to Hall of Fame this year?
She is going into the Hall of Fame, yes. She is going into the Hall of Fame, and once again, Triple H is going into the Hall of Fame, yes.
Right. And so they had a little snippet, and she started bringing up, WrestleMania where, when Undertaker lost, Lesnar, the one behind the one.
Sure.
And at that time, 21-1.
Right.
And there's a lot of animosity and oh, I can't believe he did this. Why it shouldn't have happened. And I pray to God that Triple H and TKO they don't go back and they try to erase that match, or they might say, oh, Undertaker's undefeated. Well, I know he lost to Roman Reigns later on, right? Didn't he lose reigns later on.
Well, he lost to what do you have? 2 losses, I think, in his career.
Yeah, he lost to Reigns. I think that was the match where he was discussing with himself because he said it was a horrible match. That's why he came back for the Boneyard match for the COVID.
Correct.
WrestleMania
Correct.
COVID match.
Yes, correct.
But
yeah,
she was basically saying that, they shouldn't have gave it to Lesnar, and she was kind of really agitated. And I can understand why. I mean, this is his legacy. But, I was looking at Lesnar's numbers, when he came back after 2012. Of course, he won the WWE Championship in his WrestleMania debut. I think he was one of the youngest guys. Him and Orton, I think, were the 2 youngest guys to win a title.
Right.
23, 24 years old.
Along with The Rock, yes, at the time.
Other than ending WrestleMania streak, remember he had the second longest reign as Universal Champion, 504 consecutive days.
Correct.
Most Royal Rumble eliminations, back-to-back SummerSlam events. And remember, he went into that Royal Rumble and he entered to basically pick his opponents. And I think he threw a total of 13 superstars is what it says here.
Mm-hmm.
So phenomenal athlete. And I don't think he gives the credit he deserves. One other quick note, when he went out to try out for the Vikings, I think it was in 06, 07.
Right.
I know that his technique, and I know he had raw talent and he didn't make it. I understand all that. But he went through the NFL Combine. I didn't realize this. So I looked up something. At the time, I think he was listed at 6'3", probably close to 285, 290.
Correct.
So this was in 07. Again, yeah, there was a lot of great supplements and other things, but this is in like 2024. They said he ran like a 4.67 40.
Well, it's crazy, but that's
unbelievable.
That's Brock.
He got a
Lesnar
290-pound guy. I mean, his athleticism is unparalleled. I mean, he did things in the ring at his size. He moved like a guy who's 215 pounds, and I think he's an incredible athlete. I still put him in top 5 wrestlers of the last decade or the last 25 years.
Right.
I think he's an amazing, and I'm just really tired of all this griping and groaning, saying, "Oh, he shouldn't have beat Undertaker," and in the WrestleMania streak. I think he deserves it. And I think he's one of the best in-ring performers since 1990.
I feel differently about this because, and Ray, if you want to chime in, you can. I just feel like, listen, there's records that should never, ever be broken. And one of those should have been Undertaker's record at WrestleMania. He should have been undefeated. To me, that's like Joe DiMaggio with the 56-game hitting streak. That's never going to be touched. It should have been the same thing. If you're going to do that, you don't put it on Brock Lesnar. You put it on a younger guy like, a Randy Orton. You put it on a younger guy like the late, great Bray Wyatt. You put it on a younger guy at the time, which was CM Punk. Those are the type of guy. Even do if you want to, John Cena's legacy has been cemented. Brock Lesnar's legacy has been cemented. It makes no sense to do that with a part-time
Peter,
wrestler.
At that time, I don't see. That's where I disagree with you, because at that time, that was only his second year back.
Yeah.
From his, and I still think he didn't. Still, as far as the title reign he had, I think it started in January 20, right before COVID, or I think there was a lot of things he did after the streak. So I still think he was still a budding star, even though I know he had his run in 2002 to 2004.
Sure.
I still believe that it was well deserved, and I just hope that they don't try to erase it. And
I don't think they're going to erase it, but I
think
just
he deserved it. So.
Right. Okay.
Well, if you want the outside opinion, someone who I was at Slamboree 95 over at the Bayfront, I got a chance to sit right when Chief Wahoo was wrestling against Matt Hacksaw Jim Dugan. I got to sit next to Hulk Hogan's daughter Brooke, who was only 12 at the time, and Randy Macho Man. So I mean, I know wrestling, and if you want to ask my outside opinion, I do know what we're talking about here. That Brock Lesnar, he earned. To me, he earned the respect because even from an outside looking in, someone who wasn't following wrestling, I knew that Brock was one of those guys that was the wrestling at the time. He was the leader. And I know what you're saying, Pete, as far as taking away from the legacy. But I mean, at the end of the day, maybe Brock had his own legacy. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was given it because he just, like we're being gratuitous to him. I think he earned it based on the fact of what he was doing and the kind of athlete and the kind of wrestler that he was in the in the entire industry. So I may be wrong, but I'm just saying that I think that it could be a push.
And let me tell you how disgusting of a historian I am when it comes to professional wrestling. In 1995 in Slamboree, the main match was Ric Flair versus the Macho Man. And actually, Macho Man's father, Angelo Poffo, came
Yes.
out, and Miss Elizabeth, I believe, was in Flair's corner at that point. And then
Yes.
also the Giant at the time, Paul White, who they were trying to sell as Andre's son, which was not true at all, but Paul White was from the Tampa Bay area, was wrestling Hulk Hogan. I remember.
And I had Todd Wright, who I went to school with, played football with. Of course, Todd Wright from Up All Night with ESPN Radio. He was sitting in row 8. I was sitting in row 1 because I had won the tickets off of his radio station. I think it was 820, the team at the time. I think it was 820, the team that Todd was a part of. And he was like, Ray, how the hell did you get front row seats? I'm sitting literally right next to, I got Randy's family over here. I got Hulk Hogan's wife and Brooke and his son over here, and I'm just like, yo, I'm a listener to the radio station. But yeah, I mean, I love wrestling. I've always loved wrestling. Go back to Gordon Soley and of course Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, and all that. But I mean, as far as Brock Lesnar, if you're asking me if I feel like if something was given to him that we feel like wasn't deserved, even though we're talking about The Undertaker and his legacy, I think Brock has a legacy himself. So I'm not saying that you're not right, Peter. I'm just saying that it wasn't like they gave it to someone who didn't deserve it or someone who wasn't going to make that appearance.
I'll tell you what, we may have a new co-host here for Turnbuckle Talk because you know you're wrestling here, and I like that analysis by Mr. Best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. Dave, what else?
I think that was about it. So go Devils.
Go Devils.
That's it for tonight, and we'll get together on Monday. Go USA to team hockey tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Let's win the championship, 4 nations.
Yes, sir.
And we'll get ready for a great rest of the week. So
All
thanks
right,
again
man.
for letting me on. What do I do as a moderator?
Well, you moderate the YouTube channel, which will get you on, and you can moderate it and make sure there's not scams or trolls. Even if there is trolls, I'm okay with that. Just don't be disrespectful. Cam is just a troll. We love him here on Facebook, but
we got to get rid of Roger then. He's the biggest troll.
Yeah, he is. He suggested to be the moderator. Now you want to get rid of the moderator.
Thank you for the opportunity to be a moderator. I am humbled.
Yes.
By the opportunity. So thanks again, and you guys have a great night. Okay.
All right, man. Great job.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right. I would like to scream, but I can't at this point.
If you need me to do it, when you're ready to go, I can do the whole, bring the passion, bring the excitement. My kids are still awake. They'll be awake till 2 a.m. So let me know, brother.
We may have to keep you on here. All right, let's read the comments, and we'll get back to wrestling in a moment. We'll mix in some Bucs talk here with you. Dave says Lady Doomsday. Very good. Cole says Doomsday sucks. Doomsday's a bitch. Let's I was thinking Will Ferrell when he said it's just so funny to me. You're also called the guy a retard and got suspended. That is true. That is a true story. I'm not proud of it, but I did call somebody a retard and I did get suspended for a week. But guess what? It was worth it. Let's go out.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to Roger.
Call me a retard and I'll suspend you.
I bet you would. There. How about this right here? There you go.
All right. What is up with Sun Devil Dave Ruff?
Yeah,
I
man.
recommend him to become the second moderator in Sports Web history, and he wants to get rid of me because I'm a troll.
Sounds like a run, Roger. I mean, you got to if you're not always
grateful bastard. Wait till I see him tomorrow.
This guy sucks.
Shut up!
I'm straight up the suck right there.
It's like gimmick infringement. I'm like, come on, really?
I love it. I absolutely love this. I love what we got going on here on Turnbuckle Talk on the Sports Web. All right, you want to talk some wrestling?
I did not have any idea that Ray was a big wrestling fan.
I had no idea either. I'm impressed too. I think we got a new co-host here.
I have 2 professional wrestlers in the family, my Uncle Eddie and then his father-in-law, Bill Osborne, was a professional wrestler. My Uncle Eddie was a professional wrestler with championship wrestling from Florida until he became a Pentecostal Baptist minister. So, I mean, the thing is...
Who was your uncle?
Bill Osborne. Well, my Uncle Eddie is Eddie Kennedy. He was starting out. He was a professional wrestler, and he was going into the profession. But then he ended up meeting my Aunt Debbie, and him got serious, and he went to school to become a minister, and he still has his church today up in Largo, a Pentecostal Baptist ministry. But man, you can't, Florida and wrestling and Gordon Soley and championship.
I moved here in 1985, so I saw like all of the championship wrestling for Florida stuff live here in Newport Richie.
Yes.
They would go to South End Roller Palace. I saw all of the greats back in the 80s, like front row for like $10.
True. It's true. We are getting late here, so I got to be respectful, my friend. But we have definitely found a new co-host for Turnbuckle Talk. It is Tampa Bay Ray. We have found a new moderator, and Dave Ruffalo, so he is the new moderator. So we got some things taken care of tonight. We got a new guest here, the Frozen Pyra podcast, which we'll have on next week, Mr. Louie.
Louie,
we got some new guests here. Roger Shue, appreciate the time as always, my friend. All right.
All right, bro. I'll see you in the morning.
See you in the morning. All right. Let's read these comments and we'll get out of here for the night. And I'll let you do the.
I got it. I'm working on it.
All right. Here we go. All right. Let's see here. I can't wait till the Four Nations game. USA. Mike DeRoche says, I'll handle the hockey questions. A Canadian. Come on, guys. Hockey amongst the top 4 leagues. Hockey, a very distant fourth in the USA.
Now, Mike is at Minnesota. He lives in Minnesota. He's a Buccaneers fan, but he's close enough to Canada. We'll let him take that title. Mike can definitely handle the Canadian. Or unless we go with Andrew Faubert, of course, the big board. But I think Mike could do a great job stepping in for the hockey commentary.
I definitely need some hockey commentary from my guy right there in Canada, and I definitely need some hockey commentary from the big board himself, Mr. Andrew Faubert. So we will definitely talk a little hockey on Monday night. Make Dave Ruff the moderator, deserves it. Do it tonight. Jamie says Godwin is not worth that much money. Jamie, Godwin isn't worth $20 million a year. Again, not my money, Jamie. It's up to the Tampa Bay players. The market will say something different. Joey Bosa is about to be a free agent too. Christopher Cole, there's too much space junk interfering with the Wi-Fi around the world. Laugh out loud. Jamie says, yeah, that's the key word right there. He owns the DE as a pass rusher. Bowles has his DEs drop back in coverage and leaves guys wide open. So Garrett won't fit here with Bowles' crappy defense. That's not true. And I want to correct you on this and go full screen on this. And let me get my little thing right there. There we go. And then we'll get off of that. Listen, I think, Jamie, you're very critical of Todd Bowles, and that's fine. That's your right to do that. But I would also not deny the fact of the reason why Todd Bowles does a lot of this with the defensive ends is because he doesn't necessarily have the horses to run the type of defense. That's the reason why you play some zone defense and don't blitz as much. So I think, a fair assessment at this point, Jamie, would be if you get a Myles Garrett, you won't necessarily have to do that. But the reason why you do some of that stuff is because you don't necessarily have the players to do the things that you want to do, and you just have to make adjustments.
Look at Shaq Barrett. When you got Shaq Barrett setting the NFL record and Buccaneer record for sacks on a season, the secondary wasn't even an issue. Of course, Devin White was still playing like Devin White, and you had Levante at the linebacker position. But when you had that pressure, especially from the left side, as you're continuing to have, a Logan Hall or whoever you'll have on the right side with your guys inside with Kalijah and Vita Vea, but when you have that pressure, suddenly the back end's not even an issue. So it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges. So I didn't want to. I hated to interrupt you there, but I mean, it is. It's like comparing apples and oranges when you try to make that argument.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair. Dave says, I really think Baker will take the team-friendly deal when it's time to re-sign. He wants to get paid, but I think he also wants to probably vet the haters, prove the haters wrong, and win a Super Bowl, but he knows he needs good players around him to do it and will take less to try to win a Super Bowl, the Tom Brady blueprint. Michael LaRue, thank you very much for tuning in. Do you think the Bucs will bring back Shaq? I think it's certainly possible. If he wants to come back, it certainly seems like it. The Bucs love to have him back. Can he offer what Shaq did, a couple years ago? I'm not sure, but he can be a veteran presence. He could maybe be a rotational piece and definitely help with the young players. I got my money on Ray. Dave says they didn't come out right, Ray, for sure. Dave, again, the fact that Godwin would have over 1,500 yards, 130 catches, probably 15 touchdowns if he didn't get hurt. Baker was beating him. Christopher Cole. Cup to the Jaguars, definitely think that's possible. Godwin doesn't want to play in a cold weather state. Never forget, we brought all the Super Bowl free agents back, so it can be done. Absolutely good point right there.
Oh, yeah!
Bucs need a lot of depth on defense. I hope that Roxanne Perez wins the Elimination Chamber. I'll help you out, Dave, the Frozen Pirate podcast. I don't think Brock Lesnar was the guy that should have ended the streak. I agree with you on that. should have been a younger guy. Should have been, to me, in my opinion, the late great Bray Wyatt. And we'll get to some wrestling headlines in just a moment after we wrap this show up. Lesnar was a gimmick, and the best goalie in the world is America. He plays for the Winnipeg Jets, my hometown. Connor Hellebuck. All right, appreciate you, Mike DeRoche. This was speaking on not just football with Cam Haywood. Seth Rollins, who is an Illinois Chicago guy, was asked about the rumors that he may be facing Roman Reigns and CM Punk at WrestleMania 41. He says, hey, man, that means I get to kick both of their asses at the same time. My two most bitter rivals, please, on the grandest stage of them all. That screams fantastic to me. Now, obviously, you mentioned me stomping Roman's head at Rumble. We don't know where his WrestleMania status is going to be. I don't know where he's going to come back. He's on a limited schedule as it is. So we'll see what kind of deal he wants to work out. CM Punk's got to make it to WrestleMania this year. Last year, he didn't make it to WrestleMania. Fragile Phil got hurt, didn't make it to WrestleMania. So this year, we'll see if he can get there. I'm healthy and prime. I'm there every single week. I'm only 100% guaranteed of 3 of us for WrestleMania. But if you said to me today, would you like to fight those guys at WrestleMania? I would say, please bring it on. But we got a long way to go. We got Elimination Chamber coming up. So there you go. So, wow. A lot of things to think there. You know, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Of course, there's history there with Roman Reigns and, of course, Seth Rollins being in the Shield. And, of course, Seth Rollins turning on Roman Reigns. And, of course, Roman Reigns being against CM Punk and CM Punk being against Rollins. Take my money at this point, Tampa Bay Ray. WrestleMania with all 3 of these guys would be amazing, right?
Sign me up, and you can keep your UFC and all that other fighting. Just give me this. Give me this narrative, this history, this what I mean. Basically, it's we people want to always sell short. They want to go, oh, you know, well, wrestling is, you know, this and that. But no, the wrestling's historical, and as Floridians, and just the fact that wrestling was basically, I don't want to say invented here in Florida, but it started here pretty much short south here, and then of course you worked out to Texas. But I mean, give me this narrative. Give me these stories. Give me the history. Give me this athleticism that you see with these type of stories, as opposed to just this guy's going to step in the ring and try to crush this guy's skull. So sign me up. Take my money 100%. I'm in, brother.
All right. Sounds good, man. You are a new co-host here of Turnbuckle Talk. You got to watch wrestling now religiously.
I do. Yeah.
You got to do your research here. Let me read this comment and we'll get out for the night because I'm going to be respectful. Barry Horowitz. Should have beaten Taker to end the streak. Ha, ha, ha. Appreciate you, DeRoche. All right. Thanks a lot to all the guests tonight. Thanks a lot to all the calls. Once again, 373,000 views on Facebook.
In the off season. The off season.
Yes. Let me go out to this really quick before I end it. That's your main event for night 1. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns in a 3-way. That would be amazing.
That would be great.
Then you have Cody Rhodes versus who? Who is Cody Rhodes against?
The Rock. I'm kidding. I don't know. I know. I just crazier things.
That actually might be what happens. The Rock, as crazy as it sounds, versus Cody. I think it's going to be CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. Well, we'll see how it works all out. It's going to work out for the Elimination Chamber, which that pay-per-view is coming up. So absolutely, Frozen Pirate podcast makes lots of sense.
Okay, now let me do your bring the passion, and then you can close it quietly. All right.
All right. So really quick,
you got to go full screen because I'm ready. Well, we're looking at what? I'm sorry.
The Sports Web on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake, and do what?
Okay, here we go. Ooh, Pete, this is big for me because I've sat by your side for 5 years now. I want you to do this. Bring the passion, bring the excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host,
Peter Blake, along with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. For fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay Sports Fan, it's your time. Great job, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. We'll see you next time on the evolution of Sports Talk.
See you, brother.